Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fire Series Season Number 1 Grand Final. It's been a long path, right? All the way from December the 2nd. We've been going through group stages, now into the playoffs, and we have the final two teams facing each other. It will be Valid Unit facing Kosma going into this best of three. And again, before we head a step ahead of ourselves going into the maps, going into the matchup and the statistics, I'm Puffa Bob. I'll be leading you through these matches. And to my right and your left will be the lovely Cherry. Cherry, how are we doing on this fine evening?
Pretty good, right? We're coming on in. The grand finals have awaited. It's as you said, been a long road as it's been going on for a couple weeks, couple months now, and these two teams, they're ready. They are waiting as we did see the map ends coming through, right? We can get over to that in just a minute, but I want to get your thoughts, right? We've been
Yeah.
seeing some cool stuff, and you actually had some crazy predictions. So I'd love for you to just give us the rundown on how those predictions kind of did come into fruition.
Well, firstly, we're going to actually have to get to the maps for those predictions to come true. But before that, we must take a look at the brackets to see how the history of this season has been going. And I think we take no time further and head over towards it as we have the quarterfinals, right? Valid Unit started off against E-Wave, which is quite a highly recognized German, Austrian-ish team that I've seen a bunch of times. They are a very solid team, but they ended up forfeiting. Valid Unit got themselves a re-win, continued on to a 2-1 against Darty's Little Soldiers, won that out as well. Maybe a rough battle, but they secure the grand final at the very least. While Kosma, on the other hand, they had themselves a similar rough beginning and a smoother flawless going into the semifinal. And now, once more, we have these two teams in the very last end stage. And now we're going to have to see who walks out on top.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, this grand final, here's where it does matter. We look towards the team cards of both rosters. It's a highly decorated team where we look towards their ways of playing. It's Nighthaven Labs, where they find a lot of win percentages gathered up as a total win rate of 78%, certainly showing dominance as usually you see those 50, 60% as the main stage, but 78 looks nice. Lair being one of their worst, and because of that, we did see that as the first pick for them, which is interesting, right? For their ban, we saw them going for the consulate, and then right after that, they banned out the layer. So how that is going to kind of be shown off, we'll see what that does kind of mean for us. But yeah, beyond that, they do keep open Nighthaven Labs as one would imagine, and that should likely be something they'll be able to pick up as their opposition did not ban it.
100%. And going over to Cosma Gaming, again, they're going to be going for a more commonly renowned map, which is going to be Chalet. Cafe being the worst, which I'm not too surprised of. A lot of teams really don't like the Cafe. It's a death box. It has a bit of a motion set in. And of course, if the enemies can read well into it, it will be a difficult one to fight on. But Chalet being the best, it will also be their second pick rate. And of course, now we've seen both these teams. We have players such as Dice, Mushroom, Yells, Classy, Sleek, Wolfie going in as the final two. And again, we've seen the teams. Let's take a look at the battleground where these champions are going to reign and battle each other out for the ultimate victory of 200 euros for first place, 100 for the second. It will be Nighthaven, Chalet, Bank. Now, as for you mentioned, Cherry, I did a bit of prediction in the green room. The reason for that is because normally this isn't T1, right? In T1, I don't want to discredit these teams, but they are not the peak of Siege. These are mostly they're going to be picking up maps that they know, right? They know the best, they're confident in. Nighthaven Labs, Chalet, Clubhouse are probably the grandfathers of the competitive map pool as of the current. Most picked maps going into best of ones, but mostly so in general because it has grown on a lot of people. They are maps that are fairly recognized, probably the most played maps of all time. As for the bank, I do like that over Clubhouse, as of course, it shows a bit of strength from Valid Unit and that they're comfortable going with a bit of diversity.
As these two teams will be able to find their best maps respectively, it does kind of beg the question of will they be able to find success? Obviously, for the Nighthaven Labs, we will be looking towards Valid Unit to be able to find the opening blow. But whether or not Cosma Gaming will be able to find that early steal away, it could certainly pay out dividends for them as when you have that early advantage, it could cause some overzealousness, possibly a little bit of a kind of a little bit of a just kind of difficult performance to be able to find your victory. So as we head over towards Nighthaven Labs, we'll see what they do end up opting in for in terms of those bans, picks, everything in between. But right now, Puffa Bob, I want to get your thoughts. Right, current meta, what could possibly be something that we'll have to
Ooh.
keep our eyes on as we do get towards this draft?
Honestly, I think these bans are going to be mostly restricted towards breaching. Again, we go down to a map like Nighthaven Labs, which is extremely vital to your breaches. You have your eye walls, the downstairs Bateman wall, because it has so much potential of denying information, but mostly also rotation. And of course, that's why we get the ace out. We're probably also going to have a follow up with a shield operator or a Thermite Hibana Maverick, one of those. And yep, the Monty is going to be showing himself because, again, it's a powerhouse operator that the defense just don't want to deal with. Extremely strong and, again, more powerful than you could imagine. Amonte can take so much ground over that Raptors side, push himself forward, and mostly can't be contested in the moment. As for the defensive bans, I'm not too surprised. The Tubarão is a good operator to delay. I am, however, caught off guard by the fact that the teams didn't go for the usual dynamic duo of a Cade and Bandit ban, which is always seen because, again, then the defenders can't electrify the walls. Then they're forced down to a mute or just to allow the attackers to get the breach for free. But we're going to have to see as we go further. And again, on the other hand, we get the mirror out of the composition, but we still leave some strong operators such as the Goyo and Azami left for pickings.
Yes, as we head on in, we are going to be seeing this Night Haven lab going towards a bit of a breaching side, right? You were kind of discussing, you were looming towards the idea that this basement will be the thing to really cut off information, and whoever's going to be able to take advantage, that should be the team to really be able to fire start themselves into the game. And how they're going to be able to get this done, that will be the question. Puffo Bob, any real predictions for how this start could go?
Honestly, normally a map like Nighthaven, I would say it's defender sided because you have that comfortability. Again, this is also kicking off into a grand final that both these teams have not faced each other in the past track record of their stats, or at least what we've been able to see. So again, both these teams going off of first impression, I think the kickoff here is going to be for the defenders, but considering the bans, I think the attackers might just have a bit of an upper hand. They don't need to deal with the mirror, they don't need to deal with the Tibara, meaning not only do they get themselves these early breaches, which completes the objective for drop here so he can back off as the Thermite and maybe play a bit more of an aggressive role, but at the same time, they're also doing it by the books, clearing all the top ground. They have themselves already information on Dyseg's, who is getting slowly hunted down by these drones, but Rockin and Azami on this upper floor surely can give you space to work with and reconstruct the upper floor to your will.
Bob, though, fishing for some shots, trying to make the prediction. Unfortunately, not able to make the connection just yet as they are still leaning in. We're just going to have to keep waiting in the wakes, but the HP does seem to be dropping as we look towards Please as they fall down a little bit of HP. The explosives will be dropped into the action currently, though. Yellowist having a little bit of an interesting positioning, getting a little bit of a corner position looking nice, but on the other side, peeking from the right side of the table, they drop him down as Resi Meow takes down Yelvis, but the trade instantaneously pulls back as the Resi Meow is off the board as Dikez pulls him off. And now as the minute 25 still remains, Puffo Bob, it's looking good for both these two rosters, but as Kolesti takes down iDerps, it definitely seems as if this game could certainly be leaning one way.
Want to be cautious as an attacker, even though we had good old, I do believe it was Kosma here with a great beginning again. Found themselves the objectives very quickly and started to tick off those checkboards. But right now, things have slowed down the second they started approaching the aggressive side of the map, which is going to be these roamers, right? We're still seeing the Goyo right around the corner towards this, I do believe is a stock side where two players are lurking, one of them even with the diffuser, who is going to be stepping back to try and find this main breach. But as of the moment, aggression from none other than the defense has been, I mean, just absolutely valid. They've been playing it well. They've wasted time. They still have the smoke in the pocket, which can play toward the denial of the post plant. The Grim is taking extra damage, and with all this pressure, the attackers might feel a bit discombobulated as they don't even have the information of where the final 3-4 defenders stand.
It's certainly looking good as 27 seconds do remain within this battlefield. We'll be the ones to take it. It definitely seems like this next couple kills could be the real nail in the coffin, especially if you're on Kosma. And as they pick up the next, Dikez will be able to shut down BB Please, putting them in a 4v2 situation, needing to go spectacular, needing to pull out a miracle of a play, but certainly just seems to be looming the opposite way, as we'll be seeing Kosma trying to seal this array, and they will be able to do exactly that. As the timer ticks down, the pressure applied. Puffo Bob, it seems as if that may even be a little bit of a foregone conclusion within this round, as a 4v2 certainly a difficult thing to come back from. And obviously, this was their map pick. This was what we saw in the team card as their strongest map. And they're certainly proven why.
It's the first round. I don't think we can necessarily call too much of a prediction just yet, but it was well played, right? By the end stage, Siege still at its core is a FPS shooter, and, well, Valid Unit, they definitely show that they can bring guns to the table. And meanwhile, Kosma, utility-wise, they were doing quite well themselves. They do know how the meta works. They do know that the Grim is an extremely powerful operator that can be utilized to his max, and even though in an uncomfortable spot, they still tried their best, but it's one round that can slip on by. They're still on the attacking side and contest the waters to see how the defenders really scout around, as now heading over towards the mid ground. I am actually very supportive of Valid Unit's current side choices, because normally the defenders, it's quite traditional to see them go top floor first, bottom floor next, and then mid side as a tertiary objective if you get to that 3-side rotation. And even in ranked, you see this quite commonly. But from the side of Valid Unit, as of the current moment, they're avoiding this top floor like it's the plague.
Yeah, they're really opting out of it, and it certainly seems as if that could be the detriment that may even cost them in these rounds. But we'll just have to wait and see, as there is still time remaining. And currently, we're just going to get the Riot Shield pulled out, trying to find some information, barricading the walls, trying to hold this game accountable. Oh, going on through. Explosives are already getting some information spotted as the Riot Shield trying to poke and prod their way on in. Unfortunately, no connection shall be made just yet.
See, the clash can be difficult to deal with. The one eyesore for the attackers here might just be the pulse down below. Again, you have that microwave in hand with constant information on floor banks. Might be a bit difficult to prove to fight against. You don't have an IQ to counter it, so gonna have to see how by the end stage Kosma look to deal with it. But again, this top floor, it seems the reason that maybe Valid Unit have been trying to go away from it is so that they can play on it actively from the roamer side of things and not need to worry about giving up their objective. They seem to be a very upfront team where they want to be aggressive at the early start, waste their time, and then back off to site, knowing they didn't necessarily lose much, besides have the enemy team struggling more and more. And now again, we see the clash is going to be a very big hindrance, already slowing down the Thermite, having all your rotations be so much more questionable as you don't know who's going to be swinging up from behind her. But as of the moment, I'll be honest, Valid Unit are certainly handling the pace.
It's looking good, poking around, trying to make something happen as the SMG in hand could perchance be nice. DK's currently 2-0, certainly not a player that you can take lightly, as they are just going to be holding this angle. One player does seem to be looming opposite side, possibly a bit of an engagement to come off of it, but the engagement from behind, not able to make the connection, but they spot another, goes in for the shots, able to find them, but the trade comes out, Resi Meow down. But it's still going to be Sleek acting their own way. But it's so good from Sleek as they pick up a double kill. And now the round seems to be almost over as Sleek picks up 2 to shut them down. It's all good if you are on the side of this Valid Unit roster. But unfortunately, this round will not go their way.
Yeah, last one will be Baby Please. Deimos, strong gun in hand, but again, the shields on the defensive just might seem a bit overwhelming as of the moment. Diffuser, lockdown, case gone cold, and 4 players on the enemy team looking to hunt you down. We see the LA Yells coming around the corner of Electric, ready to swing you. You expected, you're a bit too bad on timing. It's unfortunate in the moment. You're caught reloading, and the final shot from the Ella to put another nail in the coffin. We have ourselves the second round for the defense once more. This was a solid performance. Again, they just played it by the books. They knew what they were working with. I am in love with Valid Unit right now, but Kosma, again, not to discredit them, they had themselves a thought. The blueprint was there. All they needed was to put it in a bit more action, a bit indecisive around that IT breach. Again, once more, unsure if we can push this clash forward, if we can maybe clear out with utility, but there was just way too much backing from the side of Barbed Wire, 2 players behind her, not much congestion on Rafters. Normally, the next time around, what you want to do is try to go in from Electric, try and take over. We have Connector, get that breach, and then just take it from as many angles as possible to the point where the defenders are overwhelmed. But we didn't have the utility on the attacking side to back it up. This time around, though, we might be leaning in towards that more as we see the Capital being picked up.
The last round looked really proactive, right? When we looked towards Valid Unit, they were just able to constantly be taking angles that weren't punished whatsoever. And it was certainly a situation where if you're on the Kosma Gaming roster, you need to be in more of that static positioning, right? When you go for this dynamic entry, it allows your opposition to be able to completely overwhelm you. And that pressure starts to build up. It starts to mound. And it didn't seem like there really was the comeback potential. Now, as they go into this next round, it really does become a situation situation where you do have to stem the bleeding somehow. The snowball seems to starting be built, and if you don't start to close the gap, it could cause detriments.
Exothermic on the default. Again, even though the Cade and Bandit are very available to defensive, they decide not to take it. Breach is out. But look at the close confrontation from the defenders. By the outlines alone, you can see the Warden in electrical. You can see the Izami right next to that rafters door, just ready to swing on by. Has no information on her yet, but there is a drone lurking really close, and you don't want to get spotted in this moment. Very awkward to be in. A couple of warning shots sent her way, but I don't think there's confident information as Clusty will find Bob. An unfortunate death, and again, with that buck gone, your soft breach is going to be extremely limited down to guns and any secondary utility you have in your current pockets. Although a punish is attempted at being made right now, the Izami will walk away scot-free, very possibly. We see the smoke bay being thrown down just to hold these attackers back for the moment being, and Rassie's just tempted for it, right? Go for that rush and just walk into the breach, get yourself a rafter opposition, but maybe please will fall in the midst. Dices with his second kill for Team Valid Unit, and there it goes. It has all crumbled by this point. An attempted punish is happening. It seems two are still going for the way of Kosma, and they might be coming back with it, but Klesty won't allow it to be done so easily. As the third right now, last one standing again. A tale as old as time, a 1vx scenario once more, and the result bound to be the same.
And a phenomenal peek from this last player as we look towards them. They're poke and prod, deeping the dive as it keeps on going. And that round certainly taken aback, and you look towards Dykes as a massive playmaker for the teams. They're able to facilitate the engagement, making it look spectacular. As now we're seeing that third round being committed. The Warden, especially being one of the first players to fall, looked really, really good as they were able to kind of just drop down the utility early on. And without that available, it just gave such a detriment that they had to deal with. And being able to come back from the hole that was already dug for them now, I mean, we are getting to the latter half, I guess, of this. I mean, half. So as we're going on to round number 4, we'll see whether or not there will be any changes. And I kind of want to get your thoughts here because you're a lot smarter than I am, Puffo Bob. Do you think that this will be even like a feasible situation, right, to be able to find this equalization in the first half at this point? Because obviously, defensive, it is definitely nice to be able to start on this. You get a little bit of a boost to go onto your second half with, but how do you kind of expect that this first half might end?
I think it's still going to add solidly here for Valid Unit. They've been mostly just using everything the map has to offer. Again, they have been playing their strategy well, and they've been seeing how Kosma plays. So honestly, you just position yourself well. You go for the refrags. Players such as the Izami can go off for double, or Dice is even going for double, triple kills, and it doesn't really go punish. So right now, it's more of Kosma not being able to find themselves an opening into any type of kill, as for rather than Valid Unit being this insanely overwhelming team. Valid Unit are just playing it correctly, and again, there's no discredit in that. That is extremely well. We love to see it. And on a map like Nighthaven, where utility really does matter a lot, I think the score here, we're looking at a 4-2, 5-1, maybe even 6-0 is very possible. But again, like all possibilities, the equalization is still within the grasp.
Yeah, I mean it really is just can't catch your count. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. You can't count your eggs before they hatch, and we have been seeing a lot of counting coming up for this blue roster of the Valid Unit, especially when you look towards Clusty, who's currently up with a 4-0 KD. Definitely not a player to look down on. We'll see whether or not they are going to be able to keep up this aggression. Currently, they are standing tall. Sleek as well with 3-0. Neither player's dying yet, putting up masterclass performances. Now we're going to be getting this orange team kind of moshing up, right? We see 3 players all together over towards this corner. We get to kind of look towards what they're going to end up doing. They look to breach over towards this window. Not fortified. It will just be made of those kind of swiftly put together wood planks. But now as the other opposition of this Valid Unit starts to make their way on over, they are going to start to put a little bit of contesting, putting the pressure up, stalling out their opposition with C4, trying to clear out these close corners. It won't work entirely, as there is still a lot of players opting to stay aggressive.
You know, Kosma realizing if this is the grand final, all fair play is game. Blackbeard is going to get pulled out. Normally, not necessarily the most looked upon character, looked down upon, as a matter of fact. Not because he's not good, it's because he's too good in certain situations. Again, the shields can be extremely deadly, so putting yourself up with that shield bash, going into connector, clearing out space is going to allow Baby to get that opening pick. Speak of the devil, that's a good That's a good beginning here for Kosma, but they need to progress forward. Right now, they've gotten themselves this top floor control. They can start going for verticality if their utility allows it. We might see the Gridlock pull out a secondary shorty and try and break down some of these lines of sight so you can get yourself a more comfortable amount of control over this top floor, but also you can see the vision into sight through verticals alone. But there's one kill, right? But at the same time, it's your smoke gone. So here, Valid Unit gave up their only, or rather most feasible, operator to deny post plans. A swing here from Sleek attempted and gonna go heavily punished. I mean, Drep just not gonna be too slow to catch on him.
At this point, a 3v5 certainly looking unfortunate, but Questy looking to get that unfortunate situation and make it more feasible. But the flashbang comes in, instantly popping off as Dice says will fall down. Resty able to pick up the kill. Now a couple players moshed together, but so many on this orange or red side taking this height, right? We look towards the map. Everyone playing above them as now we look towards Questy. Pick up the first with the SMG in hand. They bring it forward. Looks for the second, able to commit it. As they find equalization, the Night Haven lab certainly looks good, but unfortunately playing from the high ground will be looking better as Ressi, Deep-Point working side by side, hand in hand, pick up their first round.
Kosma, that's what we need to write. If it was the shield, if it was the tactical timeout, whatever the reason, it's got something working, and I'll let's run away with it. Valid Unit are still 2 rounds ahead, and they can even capture 2 more of their own for a 5-1 split, but you don't want to allow that to happen again. Going into a second half with only 2 rounds of lifelines, it's not the best. It's not really the best, especially for a grand final heading into a quick beginning. And a quick ending of map number 1 can result to a bit of mental struggles. But again, these are esports teams we're taking a look at, ladies and gentlemen. They should be able to handle a bit for themselves. In the meanwhile, though, Valid Units, a bit of a struggle. Again, they played over aggressive normally in the past couple of rounds. They really played off of each other. Again, prime example being that clash. But there is one thing I've spotted Valid Unit, even though they have played together, their isolation is something that can easily be captured upon, something capitalized, something to be punished, right? And that's what we saw from Kosma. We took a look at a lot of these players who were just alone, taking these challenges, playing over aggressive, and Kosma, they used that shield, blocked a couple of bullets, took an off angle, and shut out player after player until there were none left.
It's definitely not looking good, as we are going to be seeing that first round. Maybe Valid Unit will have more of the bank to show us, as finding their first round looking really, really nice. As we saw BB Pleased able to find the opener pick, and then just completely fell down from there. As now it will be Bob to find the first 4 of the team as they keep up this first blood momentum. How they're going to be able to follow up. It is actually a similar situation, right? We see the same kind of aggressive stance that they take, as 3 players all going to be opting into the same location, looking to seize this game. As if they're able to find a good position, it could certainly lead to a recoming to this half, as defense certainly not looking phenomenal with a 3 or 4v5. But as Deep-Point drops the HP, it certainly could be a little bit of a better situation for them, as they may perhaps be able to come back into this game.
Blackbeard pushed off. Great ways for the smoke to sneak into Electrical now, play close with that shotgun. A bit of counters have been used, but again, aggression has been the name of the game here for Valid Unit, and it's cost them 1 life, but they've been able to recoup it back up. That's going to be Drip falling. Bob taking a bit of damage again, slowed down by that wub, but it still fights back gracefully. Tice is in for the refrag to keep themselves within man count advantage. Of course, time is being wasted, but again, you get yourself some sort of opportunity to break down this site once more. We're back on drones. We still have 1 more to clear above. It's going to be Clusty on this zombie, just holding it nice, tight, and close around this IT side. But as of the moment, there's not going to be much of a escapeway if you don't take the opportunity to run away now.
It's looking like this could perhaps be the point where this mounting comeback will be enabled. Fishing for shots, unable to make it happen. The Riot Shield holding nice. Ressi picking up Sleek. as now it is going to be a shot looking to get that head tap. Unfortunate with Riot Shield still alive, still nice, still keeping them in a healthy position, but it doesn't look great as Mushroom going to be shut down, but no, they still stay alive as now Questy down. It's Defoint to pick up the kill. Mushroom's going to be able to get the pistol in hand. Defoint locks their life away as now it's a 1v1 situation.
Last player you want to be up against is the Deimos. Constant tracking, gonna go for the shot, but the shotgun just able to catch you. Very fatally injured in the moment, and again, the rage, and this is just greatness, right? The Pulse there by himself handled the majority of that top floor with a Reaper of all guns as well. Keep in mind, that is the secondary pistol. He was holding a shotgun that entire time, but decided to pull out a Blicky and go absolutely mayhem on the top floor. As now reaching a 4-1, you've already won out the half, but there's still one more round remaining, so it's not over just yet for Kosma. Again, even if it is a 5-1, nothing is really over until the Fat Lady sings. However, that should not have been around for a valid unit. I'll be completely honest. Again, they got it. Extremely well played by the Poles there. We have to give them credit. But in the end, Kosma held themselves quite the man advantage. They had a player pinched into IT, and just with the support of a bald man with a microwave, it came back to some sort of a comeback.
I don't get the reference.
Oh, bald man? Pulse is bald and he has a microwave.
Oh, I thought this was like a reference to like a movie or something. Okay.
No.
Well, that makes yeah. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, it looks phenomenal. It is as you said. They won out on the half. There is still going to be that opportunity though. If they can skyrocket themselves further within this half, they could really slam the door on their opposition. That being the valid units. We'll see whether or not they're going to be able to make that happen as we are getting straight on in as the action phase begins. We are going to look to see what the setup does seem to be. It is different than what we've kind of consistently been seeing from this valid unit roster, right? They've been kind of going for like a 3-1-1 setup. This time they're going to really be spreading out across the map, and we are going to be looking towards iDerps, who's looking to breach this wall ASAP.
Can openers on the Grim can go into a bit of a side objective while the rest of the team are looking to enter themselves in onto this top floor. Even scouting out the bottom, seeing how open it would be, as again, we have seen that Valid unit love the roaming, meaning a gap could be left in their defense. Speaking of which, Bob might just be willing to expose it, spots the wall back potential, takes a bit of damage, finishes the job. That's the down Goyo, in and out. Still has utility remaining, but again, there's breaches on the main wall, and right now, Valid unit are starting to feel the pressure. They know they've let something slip on by, and now they need to get back to sight, or at least close enough to extinguish that. Some damage taken, that's going to be another one for the count. Bob is just going to keep on progressing onto sight, and that's exactly what we need. The main objective has now been taken over by the attacking side, and the defenders can only loom above and try to maybe take out this one parasite who just can't be found.
Well, Puffo, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. You said the pressure must be rising, but honestly, they've been in this situation before, and they've been able to make it happen. Despite being in the man disadvantage, they've been able to pull magic out of a hat, and whether or not they're going to be able to do the same thing here, that will be the question. There's two players grouped up, one on the opposite side, could possibly be able to make something happen. And look at this, one player isolated from the rest, as now they're going to have to go massive if they want to make something happen. The shotgun in hand could perhaps be able to get something done. They fish out the shots, but it goes to Resi as they drop him down.
Another swing, another down. Last one will be Dices. Gets the retaliation, but nonetheless, it's the issue I've already talked about, right? If you do not deny that plant and you're a floor above, time is going to be ticking. You need to reserve 7 seconds for that defuse, and now having to go for that post plant. With a 1v3 situation, no information, Bob is just going to wipe you off. He began it, he will finish the job as well. And a 4-2 split here for Kosma to get the bare minimum. And again, starting with a bit more strength going into this matchup. It's not over yet. They're going over to the defense, should find themselves a bit more comfortable. I do, however, wonder how the bans are going to be looking from these two teams.
You'd imagine that this is going to be really, really difficult as they move over to the other side. If you're on this Kosma Gaming roster, right? They were able to find so much success, but the question now becomes, will they be able to find said success when they are just losing, what was that, like 1 round, 2 rounds maybe in a row? I mean, the pressure does certainly be able to get to you at that point, and the snowball definitely does seem to be built and maybe getting launched right around as if you can start just kind of finding these rounds, picking them off one at a time, we'll see whether or not Nighthaven Labs will go the opposite way. And currently we are just going to get that done, right? We see the abandoned buck both getting opposed, and how will that kind of impact how we see, right? We saw the Blackbeard earlier, and as well as that, there was a couple other interesting picks that weren't traditionally seen as normal, but it is still looking like similar things all around.
Yeah, now we get to see something that's very commonly used on this map, the bandit, as you mentioned, and the Cade being banned. It's mostly the fact of now, again, even though the defenders had the opportunity of electrifying their walls, they didn't. Now it's a case of the defenders can't anymore because those operators, all the ones that can electrify, have been taken out of the composition and they won't go for a mute to try and little down any small part of the wall and really block out utility for as long as they can. They're rather going to resort to trying to focus all their aspects into gunfights and making this site as much of a fortified battlefield that favors them, of course, as much as they can, right? We're taking a look at the mirror. We're taking a look at the zombie. We're taking a look at the clash. All these operators are extremely hard to shut down because of the utility they offer. As in the meanwhile, we do see Baby Please here just peeking out, going out of sight. Not a spawn peek, maybe, but gathering some short or early round information.
It's looking good as currently we are just going to be getting the info gathering potential. As you said, they're looking to just be able to scout out the current basis of the map and how that will be able to project itself within the rest of this. That will be the question, making a bit of noise, shooting a little bit too recklessly, one would imagine. We're gonna have to wait and see what that will inevitably call for, right? Rotations may perhaps be pulled and could possibly lead to a bit of a disadvantage, but right now we will just have to wait and see as we look towards Ressi, a real playmaker, 7 kills already on the board. Definitely nothing to scoff at. Dice says as well, just gonna be fishing out for some shots as they look to break open the glass, trying to explode out of the current stranglehold that they have been placed in, and looking to gain space across the map could perhaps be able to do exactly what they're looking for. But just look towards this attacking side. We have 3 players all gathered up. Perhaps that could be enough to be able to find those one for ones and get the trades instantaneously.
The attackers here running a heavy execution lineup. We see the Grim, we see the Ying, we see the Capitao, all of these. If they manage to make it to the very end stage of this round, their execution should be very slim because there's not much utility denying it. You have those ADSs at most, but as of the moment, right, we're taking a look at both these teams just looking to brawl it on out. And while though utility, again, I mentioned it's a very heavy part of this game, it's going to be down to gun skill. We've seen that with guns alone, you can do a lot. And right now, I'll be honest, we are having maybe a bit of technical difficulty, so we can't necessarily say what's happening as of the moment. While we are looking to sort them out in just any moment, we can talk more about the fact that, again, this is round 7. This is a moment for Valid Unit to maybe pick up on their 5th round and get themselves closer. We are getting back, however, so let's see if the action is going to start picking up. And right now, we're just gonna take a moment to try and fix things out.
Unfortunately, when it comes down to it, we will have to get back into the lobby as soon as one would imagine. But right now, we do just have a bit of a pause. Not sure. What do you think? You think they're playing this out? You think we're going to be seeing the team stop? One would imagine that if it's. I don't know where I was going with that actually. Buffo Bob, what do you think? Do you think? Oh, we have a connection error. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, for now, we're just gonna look to see what we can do in the background. It happens, right? It's production. It's not the fault of production, it's just a thing that always happens. Normally, it's a fun saying inside the casting scene of Siege. It's not a Siege broadcast without technical difficulties, and it's not much we can do about it. We're just gonna look to do as much as we can in the background to solve things out. But again, as this match has been going forward, again, Valid Unit, they know what they're doing. Kosma as well, and I have to credit that Kosma were good at adapting. Once they did, Valid Unit didn't have much of a response, and we saw that best within this first half. Again, especially Bob being a really strong player going into that last round of the first half as the Buck to try and penetrate the defenses through the small nooks and crannies they left behind and mistakes that were extremely exposed. Again, just getting yourself down vending machine stairs, picking off one, continuing down the ladder, and of course, by the end stage, you have sight under control. The last 3 defenders on top floor, and in the meanwhile, you're getting the plan down. You're as cool as a cucumber in sight, and not really much opposing you. We're gonna have to see if we see more plays like that. I really do, and especially since I'm Puffle Bob and the guy's name is Bob, I have to support him. But in general, this match has been interesting. You know, it hasn't been as much back and forth, but it has been showing both these teams showing determination.
Yeah, they've both been looking good. As you said, Bob's been playing phenomenally as they picked it up in the latter half of the first half. And beyond that, right, we saw Dices as well really starting this game off hot, and Seek on the opposite side looking like a real powerhouse as they were able to kind of get a little bit of an unfortunate ending to the first half, but they like a real player to contest with, right? Beyond that, BB Please was I'd put them as a real kind of wild card as we saw them very strong when it came to being able to perform those first bloods, shutting down their opposition, striking while the iron was hot. It allowed their team to be able to capitalize on the missing player and leveraging that player advantage. They certainly did showcase why they are here, why they've made it to the grand finals.
100%. But right now, while everything's getting sorted in the background, we don't want to overload you with information, just constantly keep you yapping and waiting. We're going to send it to a short break. Get yourself some to enjoy the show more, as we're going to be back the second we can be, so stay tuned. We very heavily apologize for the slight delay, but the technical difficulties have been solved, and we're going to get ourselves back into the match. Now, where we left off was mid round, so we do end up seeing the result of Kosma Gaming being able to do it 5-2. And yes, we do. I do just want to clarify we have been mixing up teams. It is Kosma Gaming on the lead, 3 rounds ahead, while Valid Unit are going to be a bit behind. However, we do have to consider again, they are 5-2. It's still not match point yet, but once they reach it, might just be a bit more difficult to think about, especially mentally. Although we're gonna have to see how this goes. It's still me, Puffabop. It's still Cherry and Cherry. We're heading back. What are we thinking?
I mean, we're thinking that this game is currently going crazy, right? Last round we saw the valid unit up one to up one player, but unfortunately, despite that, Cosma Gaming made the comeback. We're able to pull the round back up in, as now they are up 5-2, 2 rounds away from being able to take a series point within the grand final, secure a $200 prize. But we will just have to see whether or not they are able to make that happen, as we are going to be getting to see our lovely faces for at least a little bit longer while these players do get back on into the action. Make sure they're ready. Make sure they are super duper into the action.
Yeah, 100%. There was a bit of a mouse glitch, so we're gonna have to rehost that and send us back to the, like you said, lovely chems. As for the one, is in the meanwhile, right? We're still looking at Nighthaven. even if one of these two teams, which will be a result, of course, if they don't end up winning it, that's completely fine. Again, we are taking a look at a grand final, which is either normally a best of five or a best of three. Either way, you have secondary chances, and it's going to be going over towards that chalet, which is another map that is very heavily known across the entirety of the Siege community. And again, these players have proved to us that they do know ball. They are very decent. They are definitely tier three, tier four material, whatever you want to consider, right? We've seen crazy shots, we've seen the chemistry, maybe not the peak of Siege, but what does it matter here? We are looking at a great matchup between the two, and even though there's a bit of a lead, we're hoping to see a comeback, right? Overtime is still possible, very much so, or even regulation victory here for Valid Unit if they go 5 for 5 in the following rounds, but that's just something we're going to have to let time tell. As in the meanwhile, while everything is getting sorted in the background, we can talk more about Siege, right? Because Siege right now has been having some, I mean, just in general, right? I've been playing ranked. It's been really nice. Overall, there's been some recent changes as well, and the game has been quite fun. I do wonder who the next operator is going to be, or maybe that we're going to also see a bit more of the most recent operator, which, I mean, we did see him on Night Haven, right? The lasers, the man himself, but I only hope to see him more, especially going on to a map like Chalet.
Yeah, I mean, it will certainly come down to it on Chalet. That would definitely kind of prove who will be the stronger team, just inherently. As you said, very popular map. I'm sure it is that tried and true that these two teams are both looking forward to. Is this one? Night Haven Labs, yes, it is very popular. Yes, it is very good. But we did see one team with a lot more of a preference towards it as having that as your strongest map. Definitely does kind of go to show the bit of preference that they do hold towards the labs. As we'll see how they do end up kind of opting in for the finale. But yeah, 0 up 5-2 on your map pick definitely looks to really be able to just be able to firepower diff your opposition in terms of having those strengths compared to the weaknesses. It's looking good for them.
Yeah, it definitely is looking good for them. Again, if they continue down this line of that they've already been walking down for the past 7 rounds, it's definitely going to be Kosma coming out extremely strong. Overall, though, however, again, valid unit comeback is always possible. We've seen very much more unplausible or impossible situations, such as FaZe with a large comeback against BDS. They were down 5, 6 rounds and they were able to come back, get themselves a victory. It was absolutely phenomenal. And there's no doubt that Valid do it can, or that Valid Unit can do it. But again, it's just a matter of time as of the moment. But both these teams, again, for anyone that is joining us and hasn't been here earlier, are going to be competing for the first place prize of 200 euros. Second place will get half of that, still 100 euros again. Both these teams will be walking away with something, if nothing else. But overall, you do want that. You do want that bonus. You do want that title. That you're the one to win out season one of Fire Series.
And whoever's able to take that certainly will be happy with the results. As you're doubling your opposition's prize pool, you're looking like that is going to be enough. And I believe there might even be some other rewards. I mean, I'm not totally sure. I think you get like some qualification, maybe, but who knows? I mean, it's been a good season one. Obviously, as you said, these two teams they have been playing this for a long time, but we are going to be able to go in for the rest of map number one as we get back on in Night Haven Labs right about now as we get straight on into the action. Puffo Bob, how are we feeling? Right, we're getting right back on in. Unfortunately, the kills did reset, so we don't get to see some of the phenomenal performances from some of the players. As we kind of mentioned earlier, Bob, a superstar performer, as well as that we look towards Salik and Kleisty, who have both been super nice. But how do you I don't know, do you have anybody in particular you're gonna be looking towards this game?
I said it. Bob is my man to go, but we can't be biased here again. Any player can have a moment in the highlight, but we're just gonna have to see how many rounds we have for these players to really shine themselves out. Although I'm not as much of a fan as I am of these insane single individual plays, you shouldn't, as a team, be relying on them. Again, Siege is extremely tactical. You're looking at a game where teamwork at its finest can beat raw gun force and power. But as of the moment, speaking of which, we're seeing a spawn peak here. It does not go successful, but the Baji still does ring out. And again, that's going to put a bit of a shiver in the timber of Kosma Gaming, who are now on the attacking side. But as we've sadly not seen, but by the score, we can tell that their attacking side hasn't started off for the worst.
Yeah, right now we are just gonna be getting a bit of an aggressive stance as Cosma Gaming able to pull up the first as Baby Please gonna be shut down. There's now two players walking up towards the top as we look towards this server's positioning. Could be really, really nice for them.
Good to see one gone. That's the Vigil again. The potential of roaming riddled down to the very last few. Rusty being one to take up that opportunity, but as of the moment, right, we still have that Blackbeard in play, which Kosma Gaming have not been one to short out of picking an operator that would existentially benefit them. We've seen them use absolutely everything, right, from the Clash of the Mirror to the Izami on the defense, over towards this Blackbeard, and of course the Grim, the Dokkaebi on the attack themselves. They're not really faint to scare away from an opportunity that could definitely have them thrive forward. Although the one downside here is that the Blackbeard is a bit isolated, right? You still get some of that cafeteria support, and he is able to block a couple of bullets, send the nade perfectly, could find some decent damage, but the two players are able to just spread about and is taken for now, although the verticality has been captured.
Yeah, it's been a 5v4 for quite some time. Valid unit halting the game, looking to keep this static positioning alive as they're maneuvering over. Bit of a interesting position, but as you said, Blackbeard isolated, definitely looking as if there might be some knowledge, right? We look towards the center of your screen, so many players in a warehouse having this information. They take this verticality as they look towards playing towards the high ground, dropping down. Nade will explode. Still having this riot shield, looking to play decisively. It's Dice says to pick up onto Resi. Trade comes out as Bob forces them offline, as now it is still just going to be a 3v4, but as the diffuser gets placed, it is going to be looking nice for Kosma Gaming.
Was plant initiated. Upstairs still going to be heavy armory as right now Lucky Classy just dealing absolute damage. Two players off the board, one more remaining, and this is a battle that you will not be able to win. Kosma Gaming now on match point, 4 rounds ahead and looking absolutely golden, and even match points just right around the corner, right? That could also get yourself a series point. The best of 3 doesn't have the longevity of other formats, but what it does have is a quick way to victory if you can find yourself the opening 2 maps. Considering this is the pick of valid units, Kosma Gaming doing so good on it might not be the best first impression here, but again, still 4 rounds to catch up. It is going to be a long haul, while Kosma Gaming only need to sprint to their way to victory. And considering right now that they're again picking up this Blackbeard, they're certainly confident they can do it with how they've been doing it up until now.
We'll have to figure out whether or not they are going to be able to make it happen, but it's as you said, it's a quick, decisive blow as they were able to dismantle their opposition's retake instantaneously as a 5v4 instantly went awry as Kosma Gaming picking up their 6th round. It's a valid unit who are significantly on the back foot, and they're going to have to completely revive themselves within this matchup if they want to make any real strides.
On the defensive, again, valid unit starting to pick up some comfort picks. See the Legion as well. Has been used really greatly to counter shield operators in the past and still in the present. Kosma Gaming might have spotted that and decided to opt away from the shield and again go for utility, something that shuts down not only the enemy team, but you can also reconstruct sites to your some sort of will, because we do have that Aurora now in play coming in from the attacking side, which is basically like a castle on attack, just a bit more automatic. As for the moment though, Kosma Gaming, IT Breach as per usual. You always get to see it if it's available, and quick out of 30 seconds and they're already making headway.
That's looking nice, as now we are going to be seeing these rifles coming into the action. Valid unit gonna have to play defensively, and it will look okay from them so far, but I mean, I would like to see them being a little bit more proactive, right? We kind of gave a little bit of information away, and that could possibly cause a little bit of an issue for the valid unit. They get spotted out by the drone, and now Kosma Gaming having that information available, the intuition as well, being very nice for this roster so far within this series. We'll see whether or not they're going to be able to keep up these calls, be able to keep up these nice plays, but valid unit, they're significantly holding towards the side. It is looking nice, but how they are going to be able to keep that alive, we'll have to wait and see. As Kosma Gaming, they've been significantly stronger when it comes to being able to play from that disadvantage. So even if valid unit is able to find the opening pick, I won't be counting that as a real victory until they're able to find 2, maybe even 3 more. But as Bob picks off the first, Feisty will be shut down.
Oh, Bob, you keep rolling the world. That's the play we needed, right? Valid unit down 2. But Mushroom was able to find the retaliation. It's a good 2-for-1 deal. You do end up taking out the smoke. So again, that post plant might be a bit more comfortable to stick on down, but just a single individual play once more. Bob able to find the nook and cranny he's been searching for. The third one already delivered, and another death going delivered to Kosma Gaming, as Bob will fall eventually. But again, it's the price that has been paid by Kosma Gaming that ends up mattering most, as they're down to 50 seconds on the clock. Diffuser is in hand, but look at the aggression from Valid Unit. They just want to throw hands each and every second. There's still some utility on their hands, though. The Izami will back off, reinforce that rotation, and now we have a lockdown fortified side, meaning Kosma Gaming's final 2 players will need to push themselves forcefully into a very tight angle, force themselves into possible 1v1s, but Valid Unit just aren't going to allow it again. These are players that are already 4 rounds down on match point, and they can't allow anything to slip on by no longer. The Grimbees were sent for a moment. There is the can opener, but what a shot from Defoyne to put another one down. There's only one more to bite the dust, and Dice just can't handle himself. This is way too much for one man alone.
It's not looking good. It's not looking easy. The shots go in. And that will be the round, as Valid Unit still keeps it alive, still keeping this game competitive, as it is now 3 in a row. But it's, as you said, right, comebacks, very, very feasible, and that's something we'll be looking towards. Valid Unit, as they were able to find a 2-kill to open up the round. That led to Kosma Gaming be able to slightly stem the bleeding, as Mushroom picked up 1, but it just wasn't enough. Valid Unit kept up leveraging that man advantage, being able to hold out the extremities and finding those defensive stances that worked so significantly well for them that we really haven't been able to see too much from them so far within this series. So maybe this is going to be the point where they'll be able to start mounting that retake. We are going to be getting the picks coming on through. Cosmic Gaming still going to have that possibility of taking this done, but it is definitely a lot more difficult than once seen. Bob finding the double looked really, really nice. They are now up to 4 kills since we saw the tech timeouts coming on, and they're definitely not looking at slowing down anytime soon.
Interesting bans coming in from both teams for the third wave of operator removals. We get the Valkyrie gone, and again, it shows Valid Units will not have as much information no longer, but the Ying hasn't been practically used by Kosma Gaming, so it isn't much of a target ban, but something they just don't want to deal with, so they can maybe try and lean away from the Warden. However, it will allow the shield to be maybe picked up again, but Kosma Gaming, seeing it's the bottom floor, will rather pick up that ram. Again, the sledge being a secondary option. Normally, you could replace the sledge with a shield operator, but if the ram dies, you wouldn't really have any soft breach, and that would be your verticalities gone, which is essentially the main vital importance of this site, which right now is already shown, but the ace is taking heavy damage. As bit of a spawn peek attempted and almost successful. Look at the aggression from Baby Please here, just taking out the Selmas, being very proactive around the stock side, and we also see some support from the Solus above.
So look at Night Day says being the first one into the action, as they are going to be going on through, drone out. See how much information they will inevitably be able to gather, but right now Cosma Gaming still going to be lowering the HP. We see Dices, who's on a little bit of a rough spot, not very healthy.
Sludge holding the down swing, but a flick to the left. Baby Please in the meanwhile, even though able to pick up Sleek, right, is that instant refrag. It's just a bit of overzealousness stepping in from the Solus. That's going to allow that top ground to be now secured by Kosma Gaming. And again, in a 4v3, they are 1 player above. Not the end of the world for Valid Units, but it's slowly starting to crumble, as even though the verticalities are being set down, I wonder how the defender's going to respond. It's a kill of their own. Baby Please being the anchor that was needed, but just that cargo hallway window to take you out. Yell's taking the perfect opportunity and position to find an equalization on the man count.
Yeah, Yell was able to find it done and dusted as they shut down by Please, and now as they're going to be looking to keep this game alive, we'll have to wait and see as 3 players all isolated for this Valid Unit on the opposite side. Cosmic Gaming having a doubled-up pair and could possibly be able to find some success as the smoke comes out, looking to claim some space. iDarp's looking to fish out some shots. Unfortunately, nothing will reel in. There's still Cosmic Gaming in the lead, in the driver's seat, but How will Valid Unit respond? Obviously, fighting the first round, being able to bring it up to 6-3 was nice, but you still gotta be able to keep up the pressure you've been applying, but not just yet. Yelvis takes down Bob, the real playmaker for the team. We saw them finding a double kill last round to facilitate the comeback, but as we look towards this time, Valid Unit, they might just be done and dusted.
One aspect, Mushroom right next to site, carries the diffuser a lot of importance, right? But it's all down to that clock. The major element that Valid Unit can work themselves off of. They try to go for the swing, they bait out the diffuser. It's a trade back and forth, and the last one to stand, Drip, or will it be Kosma Gaming to drown him in the moment, trying to go for the swing, really being overzealous, but Yaus just catches him from above, and again, that's the importance, the vital meaning of verticality at its finest, shown in example. As we have ourselves map number 1 victors, it will be Kosma Gaming, now on series points, as they only need to win the one map. But it is FPS tradition that teams really like winning each other's maps, so who knows? Maybe it's not just over yet.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see because realistically, there is still a lot more R6 to be played. Puffo Bob, look at that phenomenal matchup, though, right? We saw so much dominance coming on through, but unfortunately for the Valid Unit, despite having a decent map pick in their pocket, it didn't really seem like they were too comfortable on it, right? They were able to show signs of life, especially when we look towards that final round where they're able to find the double kill to open it up. But even before that, they were still looking good. They were consistently able to find those first frags, and it made it seem as if they were going to be able to find a decent performance within this. But I think just that early rounds that were taken, right? They found like 3 in a row, I think, before any real contention came out. That was a big part, in my opinion, of how this game really did come so strong for this roster.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, by the end stage, we're taking a look at two very decent teams. And like you said, there's a raise in there in the grand final, right? But before we head over to that map number 2, we're going to head to a short break so we can get everything ready in the background again, have these teams freshen up and be ready at its full, as it will be Chalet right after Nighthaven. Get ready and stay tuned. Welcome back. Yeah, we had a bit of a break, right? We're going to start getting ourselves into map number 2. If you weren't here around, in the end, we did see Kosma come out on top within regulation against Valid Unit on the Valid Unit's map, as now Kosma head onto their own with Series Point under the belt as well. It's still me, Puffa Bob. It's still Cherry and Cherry. We're going on to Chalet. Any thoughts?
I mean, I'm thinking that this should be really where this game starts to get competitive, right? We went into last game expecting it to be close. It honestly wasn't too close. It was 3-7 as our final score line. We saw phenomenal players across both teams, however, and this time we'll see on Chalet who will be the ones to take it home. Do we go to a third map? Or will we be crowning our victors of the Fire Series Season 1 here and now?
I guess we're about to find out. We're getting the things running in the background. We're going to get into the match as soon as we can. In the meanwhile, anyone in chat, who are you guys rooting for? Who do you guys want to win? Is there any Kosma or Value Unit fans in the chat? Let us know so, because again, we are heading into Chalet. This could be the final map potentially, unless Value Unit have something hidden up their sleeve, which we will have to see revealed in map number 2. Now, Chalet is a map that extremely heavily complements aggression. The one thing that we can take home from map number 1 is that Kosma can play their aggression. They are good at swinging and tapping heads. Not to say that Valid Unit aren't, it's just that Kosma got themselves more opportunity to do so. This also gives more of an incentive as to why Kosma might be having a better run on Chalet, and it was their map pick. However, Valid Unit got themselves the side rolls pick, whatever way you want to call it. So they're going to be heading off to the defense as first, meaning Valid Unit do have a slight bit of an advantage, but how they're going to be willing to put it to use, we're about to find out.
That will be where it all comes down to it, right? We'll have to wait and see what does inevitably end up happening here in the final map, potentially. But if not, we will go to that decider. And as we head on in, I don't know. I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited. As yeah, I mean, we certainly saw really good performances, right? Despite having a lost valid unit, they looked very good at the start of rounds, right? It was the mid rounding towards the end rounding that looked a little bit desperate from them. And it was specifically towards those mid rounds, right? We didn't really see a whole ton of rounds going towards post plants. It was a lot of, okay, we either win early or we win in the center. And traditionally, valid unit, what we saw from them was the repetition of them able to find those early kills, which led to them kind of falling down when it came to being able to keep that aggression alive, keep the man advantage in their hands.
100%. And in the meanwhile, as we're heading into round number 1, right, Valid Unit on the defense, this is going to be a site that I very heavily look forward to seeing how they play. It's probably been one of the most picked up sites, although I do just want to get something out there, right? Chalet is a map that is lenient on all sites. Normally, you have predominant sites on certain maps, like your clubhouse. The best site, without a doubt, there is going to be the bottom floor, and then cash, and then you go CC as the tertiary. On Chalet, it completely depends on the team. It is very flexible, and you can pick any of the 4 sites. It will be just about as good. It all depends on how comfortable the team is, but normally, by statistics, by tradition, Barn Gaming is the most favored, and that is because you can pick up a lot of strong operators, play around this top library stairs with a deployable shield, and set yourself around this top floor again. Verticality is going to be the name of the game. Kosma Gaming will have a lot to play if they want to get rid of these players, but in the meanwhile, Valid Unit can use that to their advantage, and maybe even with it bring us to map number 3.
Will be where we'll end up having to get down to as we look towards the start. Bit of an aggressive stance already being taken from Sleek, who's trying to get this camera on the line, right? They want to signal to the rest of the team what's empty, what's closed off, and how they're going to be able to do that. That will possibly be able to facilitate the rest of the team to be able to find these engagements. And if you're able to peak with some utility, not just dry swing everything, it could possibly lead to that being the idea that'll give Kosma Gaming their early on aggressive stance that they look to try and leverage as a valid unit. We know there are no slouches. We know when it comes to 50-50 engagements, they have those chances where they're able to find success, as the mechanics are not bad whatsoever from this team. It's just the fact that this team cohesion that Kosma Gaming has been pulling out has been through the charts. in terms of how they're able to mesh together and how they're able to kind of bounce ideas off each other and make them all work. The utility looked phenomenal from them last game, and this time we'll have to wait and see as the mechanics look good. The shot from the back gives Valid Unit their opener, as now they look to disrupt the team even more. Swapping over to the sidearm brings a second as Bob will get shut down. They did the damage, invested heavily, and now it's a 4v3.
Now it's a 4v3. Sleek. Again, we see the return from Kosma Gaming. They're not giving up so easily. Again, with Bob being instantly refragged, that potential of the roam is no longer gone. The last few defenders here from Valid Unit will be stuck back down onto ground zero, right they started, their site of defense. We, however, still have a couple of players that Kosma Gaming can utilize to its max. We have seen Sleek, again, good shootery, but mostly the Twitch drone looking to clear out some of these mirror windows. I'm unsure if they've been able to do that exactly, but we see some utility still being spent. 45 seconds on the clock, so the attackers can for sure take their time and trying to regather their thoughts, get themselves properly executed, and of course properly prepared going in for the execution itself. The Blackbeard standing outside bar window, ready to jump on in, but again, it's this mirror window, right? Drip has a C4 that can surpass shields in all certain metrics, while in the meanwhile, Yelst above on Library going to take over another vital position. It's all down to the diffuser by the end stage, as 20 seconds right now. Kosma can easily get punished if they don't play well around it, but they have 3 players, and that's an advantage. The man count really will be something you need to work yourself off of. And again, look at Drip just being held from that upper hatch. Goes for the swing, instantly refrag. But now 6 seconds, and all that Mira needs to do is hold out until the time is right. Finds another. The swing finally. Will the plant be attempted? We don't see it. No, there's just no time remaining. And Valid Unit will find themselves in the opening round.
Yeah, unfortunately, playing too slow will cost them as it goes over to Valid Unit off the time bank. Kosma Gaming gonna have to figure out how they want to try and restart themselves after such a unfortunate round, to say the least. Kosma Gaming definitely looked okay during it, right? We saw them able to take a lot of kills, but just taking such a dynamic pose, it didn't give them too much options to be able to lean into these sites. As we saw the first blood going the way of Valid Unit once more, as they were able to find a shot to the head from the back, backstabbing their opposition. Took a second as well from Bob, who was completely on par so far with how you'd expect from somebody who's being spoken so highly of from us. As now Kosma Gaming gonna have to try and make a retake, right? They need to try and find that equalization. Obviously, last time they were the ones to find the first round, and it led to them being able to take 3 in a row. This time, that doesn't seem to be the same scenario, and how they're going to try and come back from it, that will be what we look towards right about now.
100%. We're going down to the bottom floor. This is normally not commonly picked, but again, like I said at the very early part of this map, it depends on the team. It is what they want to play, what they find themselves comfortable on, and it can be very viable. An attempted run out here. I do have to commend Baba again, or Baby Please has been really aggressive, and it's again a map like this complemented by it. Now, normally solo plays not the best, but if you can pick yourself off at least one player, especially someone like a Heartbreacher, you're definitely going for value that is well worth it by the end stage, especially when it comes down to utility. Speaking of which, Yelst on the Twitch drone could use those zaps, instantly get the Goyo canisters cleared and ready. In the meanwhile, gathering information and setting a drone down into sight. It is hunted down, but however, I think there was still value to be found off of it. In the meanwhile, it's going to be a similar gameplay here from the attackers. They're going to need to clear this top floor, move on to the middle, make sure there's no roamers, as we've seen what Bob can do when he's let off the loose, but mostly it's going to be this mirror around dining side. That can be a bit of a hindrance.
As we look towards the round, it certainly does seem as if Kosma Gaming going for a similar adoption of play from what we saw last time, where they want to go for the high ground, and how that will be able to translate into rounds, that will be the question. Playing from low could be Resi with the decent positioning. This off angle not going noted, and I'll have to wait and see whether or not that is going to be inevitably able to find much in the end. As yep, there's the player coming in from the side, and Resi drops their head as they pick up the opener, but the trade is there. Salik takes down Bob as a 4v4 does come underway, and they look to siege over towards the north side.
Small amount of contention from both sides, but with the time remaining here, the attackers, again, decent progress, 1:30 on the clock. We'll need to savor it. We've seen what playing with a virtue such as time can do by the end stage. Previous round, the only reason I think Kosma ended up losing was the pressure of it. You try to rush things out, and you find yourself easily taken out by enemies who are just looking around sight. The Doka be called. The Logic Bomb will be sent out. The last one, I believe so as well. And with 1 minute now, with breaches coming around slowly, we still have mushrooms, one self in the pocket. The Tubarao is looking to deny it for as long as possible, but a charge did end up going through, as that's extra. Again, it's all about pressure. You want to apply it from as many angles as possible, so the defenders don't really have much of a clue of where they want to hold it. Essentially, Drip, though, going to try and contest players close on blue, keep himself grounded to that side of the map. However, though, Kosma Gaming seem to be ignoring him as of the moment.
Shots go in, and Defoint able to pick it up. His mushroom drops to the ground. It's looking nice, but the backstab seems to be coming into action, peeking away, looking good. Defoint trying to find their shots, make their marks, but as of now, it's Salik who's on the verge of being able to connect onto this kill. They're just right one step closer, would be able to find that nade. It comes out, but oh, look at Yellis who's dropping in. Shots come in, not able to make the connection. Swap into the sidearm, not able to make anything with the pistol as the Valid unit picks them all off, and it goes again over towards their side.
There we go. Another finish here, and we just got to talk about it, right? The defense, they're doing really good. Valid unit, this is the step up we needed if they want to find themselves that map number 3, the decider. That would be Bank, which is a map completely in its own left field, right? We have Chalet, we have Nighthaven, which a lot of teams are used to, but Bank, a territory on its own. The playstyles are extremely varying there when it goes from site to site, but we're looking a bit too far into the future right now. We still have to pick some things off of Chalet alone, as we've seen 2 sites successfully won, meaning a 3-side rotation will come through Valid unit as their last tertiary objective here will be kitchen and dining, and it shows. They just love their verticality. As defenders, they really do love their verticality. They played it in both of the opening rounds. It's worked out really well for them, and they can waste some very damn good time.
As we look towards them, Valid unit able to pull this round back up, and finding the success will likely lead to Kosma Gaming starting to crumble within the mentality coming through, as Valid unit doing exactly what Kosma Gaming was able to do. We see the barricades coming on through as they're looking to heavily play that defense, not go for any real static positioning, and it's going to look nice. It's going to look as if they have some very intriguing strats possibly looming ahead of us, as Valid unit needing to be able to segregate these oppositions and being able to isolate these picks. It's something that we saw Valid unit significantly better than the mat, and we might actually see this again, as there is going to be dices playing from the low ground, seeming as if they have a little bit of intuition towards where oppositions do lay in wait. But as they go up, may perhaps be able to make something happen. Kleisaya, however, finds the first and able to take down iDerps, making Valid unit having a little bit of a scare perhaps.
A beginning for Kosma Gaming. Normally it's been Valid unit to find themselves the opening frag, but proactivity picked up by the attacker's side for once. We also see the glass in play, which again, a very deadly unit if used correctly. Same could be said for someone like the Damos, the Capital, but we're going to have to see a bit more utilization from their abilities going forward into this match. But Valid unit, even with a loss of that lesion, which can definitely be a very, very sleek info gatherer, it won't back off. Valkyrie run, bathroom, making it a bit difficult for information to come through, especially with that drone. Flash sent in return, and we also have a player repelled up on main and Solarium. So again, these players from the defense are extremely choked up, but if they don't move, the attackers will eventually need to push forward. And once more, it's going to be Class D taking up that opposition. Dice is there to follow, and all of a sudden, Valid unit are left down to their final 2 players, the Jaeger and Castle, holding trophy in sight. But in a 5v2, you're going to need some sort of catalyst, and unless Calamity is going to strike against Kosma Gaming, the results might already be expected. A couple of his shots, and Klesi is going to punch you forward. A flawless round going in for none other.
Yeah, it's looking phenomenal. As a flawless comes out, you really can't expect that after Kosma Gaming lost the last 2, but they're able to really pull it together when it matters most. Not going to be conceding more than one would have initially expected, and it will work out within their favor.
We head back to the bans. I'm imagining this is going to be a bit of target banning, a possible Ram, maybe even Capital on the attacking side. There it is. And the mirror for the defense isn't too much of a surprise. Mira, not only because Valid Unit have been using her a lot, and I think it's been a very heavy reason they've been winning some of these rounds. Again, you can't necessarily rid the Mira very easily. You do need some sort of dedicated utility to shatter it, maybe with Habanas, with Aces, or Ash charges, or even with the Twitch, which can be difficult at certain times, depending on how well the Mira is fortified, especially even electrified at times. However, though, Valid Unit, again, they found the value off of it. Kosma Gaming don't really want to deal with her, so it's completely fair to play her, to ban her out. And I think this is probably one of the strongest maps that the Mira appears on.
Yeah, I mean, having these real meta picks coming on out, it really just go to show the prevalence these two teams do end up having. And when it comes to the grand finals, neither of them are going to be going for anything lackluster. It's all or nothing. And Valid Unit, they need to be able to pull it all out here and now if they want to be able to bring us to a map number 3, go the distance. And Cosma Gaming, if they want to be able to shut this out, it will be a similar situation for them. Needing to be able to secure this ASAP as Cosmic Gaming starting on the attacking side. We did see a little bit more difficulty from them coming onto this last map when we were on the labs. This time, however, Valid Unit being able to start on the defense, likely to be able to find a little bit more competitiveness than what they were able to get onto their attacking side of the last game.
Some of these early rounds have been amped with aggression. And speaking of which, Sleek is looking to pull no punches, get himself early into this building, scout out for any roamers, which Valid Unit haven't set themselves up into this downstairs yet, which is very common to see. But right now, Cosma Gaming not wasting a moment to take over this free ground that is presented to them below, which again, you sneak up from fireplace stairs. You get yourself ground from blue stairs that isn't anticipated, and it's an easy kill or two here, which also applies not only ground pressure, but also Klesty in the meanwhile just going to pick up Baby, as that's one to fall already. This was the player who normally kicked things off, but will be the one to be kicked out of the competition as the very first. Also being the Valkyrie, sadly no C-Force from below, going to be seen.
We're going to have to wait and see what does inevitably end up happening as look at this first player down. Valid Unit, they're the ones dropping. I don't believe they've been able to win a round where they weren't the first ones to have their player fall, and especially with Bebe, please. A player who's been relatively strong so far within this matchup. Going for the next one, the SMG reigns supreme as Sleek drops down Bob. It's a trade going double, actually. His Dicey's Mushroom both concede their lives. Equalization is found for the Valid Unit as they take a 3v3 stance and now look to try and skyrocket themselves to the brink of winning this out as Cosmic Gaming needing to be able to find that advantage. We've seen them good with these close range weapons, especially from Sleek, who's been able to make it happen. Now translating it over. Shots go towards them as they fall down to low HP. The unhealthiness has been achieved, but Sleek still coming in with a grenade in hand, trying to clear away some pressure. The kills go forward as Ressi picking up onto Klesty. Is now, how will they try and gate this back? It's requiring a miracle. A Sleek at low HP, going to be ticking downwards.
Good spot. Last half a minute. Valid Unit played this extremely well, right? They took their opportunities of 1v1s. They found themselves suddenly in a mad advantage. And now the last two attackers are stumbling over their own words, trying to find a way into sight. But again, you're going to be up against close range. The diffuser upstairs also being held hostage. And with 14 seconds on the line, all you can hope to do is find maybe some tertiary objectives. But honestly, they won't be presenting themselves. Sleek being the only one a victim right now. Second of spray here, a defoint to finish them both off. Valid Unit with another round here, securing a draw in the bare minimum within this first half, as the third is theirs to claim. But maybe just like Cosma Gaming did to them, they should be able to turn things for the better. A 4-1 or a 5-1, 4-2 split, very possible.
Yeah, it's looking phenomenal as Valid Unit takes their third. Cosma Gaming going to be on the back foot, but it is still definitely winnable to say the least, right? I mean, that round did look good for them as they were able to bring it to a 4v5 at some point, but despite that, it was just really, really good work coming in from the Valid Unit, especially IDRPS, who was able to make a nice performance, to say the least, as well as Defoint, who was currently on a real big tear. 5-1, definitely not a player to be trifled with by any means.
So Proc faces up, right? I wonder where Kosma Gaming are going to be switching around, because they certainly have found themselves in a situation where they should comfortably walk out as the winners. But in the end, Valid Unit are just pulling such, I would say, out of nowhere, 0 to 100 gameplay performances where Kosma Gaming allowed them to get away with such plays as, again, being a prime example that previous round where we saw a 5v3 turn into a 3v2 in the favor of Valid Unit, completely turning the tides. And look at the confidence on these players, right? We see Baby Plays right now going for a spawn pick. It really screams out. Now they're starting to feel themselves. And again, a map like Chalet heavily, and I mean really heavily, likes that.
It's definitely a map where if you're able to find advantages, it can be skyrocketed. As if you have those leverages available, it's hard to make comebacks. And Kosma Gaming, they know that. They know that they have to be careful. One wrong step, one wrong move can cause devastation. And Valid Unit in a similar boat as we are going to be seeing the underground breach peeking out. iDerps picks it off as Mushroom falls down to the ground, going to be shut down. And there's the second. BB Please shutting down Sleek, looking to make it all work in their favor. But the time still is ticking as Clusty picks off a Rusty once more. We'll see what they can get as they go for a second. Unable to make the connection. Baby Please, despite the low range weapon, makes the high range gunfight go their way as Bob's able to shut down Dices. It's good for Baby Please as they shut down the next and bring the round back as they completely overwhelm their opposition and find the success one was hoping for.
Valid Unit there, again, really playing into the map. Similarly like Kosma Gaming was in that map number 1. Fantastic stuff. They just gunned them down. They played aggressive, then they pushed into the faces of the attackers. Normally, you're expecting the attackers to try and control the pace, to set where the action is going to go down. But no, it was quite reversed. It was a vice versa here. And honestly, all credit here to Valid Unit. They played it fantastically. Again, even those shots were very nice. We had ourselves a very strong position. Kosma Gaming exchanged their OSA player for that post plant, but in the end, they just couldn't win out their gunfights, which wasn't the same case in Nighthaven. So whatever swap happened between map number 1 and 2, Valid Unit are certainly making map number 3 look feasible more and more by each second going into this.
Because it's getting so much more feasible, Kosma Gaming, they're going to be having that pressure mounted. Valid Unit, they're going to be kicking their feet saying, all right, this game may perhaps just be over right about now. Rusty, iDerps both on 4 kills as well as Defoint on 5. 2 players who are on those 4 kills, definitely neither can be trifled with, as well as Defoint, who's only died once, being the round Kosma Gaming was able to steal away. This team looks phenomenal. It's Valid Unit, completely different roster than what we saw in game number 1, as Kosma Gaming having a difficult time. They're putting their heads against the wall, slamming it, trying to make something happen, but unfortunately, nothing seems to be working out for them.
As of the moment, a bit of silence has been given between both ends. Early part of the round, we again see a split diversion. Kosma Gaming, their diffuser player, the IQ, I imagine, going to be safe and sound in a sort of spot where they can just scout out information, gather what intel and details of utility lie on the map, while in the meanwhile, the death marker has been sent out. Now, quickly denied as the Mew Jammer should be just stepped into, and that's kind of a not a direct, but certainly a good way to get away from constant tracking. In the meanwhile, though, 3 players just wiping out this fireplace side of the map. The breach is going to be continued, and again, you do want that breach open, especially if you want to have yourself a successful plant attempt, because verticality is the bane of a site like this, and right now we see players from Valid Unit even posted upstairs, 3 for a matter of fact, if I'm correct, that might be looking to quickly take up the challenge.
If they can be able to find contention with 3 players, you would be able to really put a bit of a stranglehold on it, as the firepower is looking nice. Kosma Gaming able to find the first, as it is Defoint down for the count, leaving them on the floor 6 feet under, as Valid Unit gonna look to try and play the retake, trying to make something happen from this man disadvantage. We see a couple players still towards the high ground, possibly able to make something happen, but before that goes, iDerps able to shut down Mushroom, finding the equalizer. Their location's been found, but nobody's there to follow up.
But they're there to follow up, and Kosma Gaming took advantage of this, right? Even though there was a bit of aggression from both the sides, things have calmed down. You're going to look to break down this barricade, and you're going to be met with death. It is inevitable once you're this close to a shotgun, especially from an operator such as the Mute. Bob going 2 for 2 with a third one for Rusty. Sleek attempted to find the attempt just anything to get them out of this very scrappy situation. But Valid Unit are shutting them down at each step. That is the aggression that Charlie brings. And if Kosma Gaming don't realize that going onto their own defensive, this is going to be another map which we are quickly going to finish within regulation.
5 rounds found. We really are likely going to be seeing this go towards Valid Unit to bring us to that third map, which you love to see, especially in the grand finals. This is where these two teams are pulling all the stops out. And Cosma Gaming, now that they hit their defensive side, we'll have to see whether or not this will give them a stride to be able to bring it back. Now, if you want to be able to win without hitting overtime, it's 6 rounds in a row, and that is certainly unlikely to say the least.
Going second wave, or rather second half of bans, right? We get rid of the shields, valid units. On the other hand, don't want to go up against Samira, which again they have used on their defensive, so don't really want to go up against a force that is as reckoning as her. Although the Warden ban certainly does pique my interest, as though they might be willing to play some flashes, possibly a Ying, a Glaz, Sens in the making. Gonna have to see how much of a spanner they throw in the works. But as of the moment, again, we have to realize a 5-1 split. Even though Valid Unit, yes, they're heading onto the attacking side, it doesn't mean necessarily Cosma Gaming will have the same 5-1 performance and bring it into overtime. It's a difficult spot both these teams have been stuck in. And even though Valid Unit have been on the receiving end in that map number one, it's about their time that they start showing Cosma Gaming the reason they're in the grand finals with them.
It's looking like Cosmic Gaming has that opportunity right here, right now, to be able to bring it back. But Valid Unit, they've been showing it. They've been able to prove that they are here for a reason. As you said, despite going down 4-2 within the first half of this series and making the end 7-3, this time they're already up 4 rounds on their opposition. As now they hit towards the attacking side, the question becomes: will they be able to keep the success alive? Will they be able to mount this comeback and find game 3 right in the wake?
See the Izami play. Again, great way to kind of swap around that Mira if she isn't up for availability. In the meanwhile, the Valid Unit on the attack, again, taking a lot of the solo spaces, peeking your head off for a moment, almost had you taken out. And risky plays by Cosma Gaming, just being a bit cheeky around certain corners, can end up in results that you wouldn't necessarily want. Speaking of the devil, though, Baby is going to put right one down. Yelst wanted to swing, he got swung upon, and normally in the game of aggression, the Valid Unit this map have been absolutely phenomenal. Still gathering information, however. Again, they're not over-aggressive, they're not really being too confident or per se, maybe even overzealous. They're still playing it patient. They're only punishing what Cosma Gaming offer up for them, as if the moment we have one or two players of the defensive above, it might quickly be left down to zero, as again, some of these players are starting to shut down. We see the exothermic being sent towards the main wall of the office side, and about four attacking players, just locking down this library.
Having the lockdown will look nice as Valid Unit looking to shut this game down here and now. Clussel has a little bit of a different thing to say about it as Hydrops is down for the count, leaving them on the ground. It's going to be a 4v3. Shooting out, unable to make the connection. It is just going to be a little bit of information gained. Prediction, unfortunately, not able to go the way one would have initially hoped for, as now Valid Unit still up a player in this man advantage. There's the next as Russi puts the coffin down into the grave as they look to finish it off, as Bob drops another player and takes the double kill, closes out the round, and puts themselves on match point.
Bob has been an absolute demon. I just have to hand it down to him. Since the very beginning, we saw him go on that Legion flank, claim 2 lives for his own to be exchanged, and throw the enemies into a sort of discombobulation. Bob, even towards now, is still reigning as a tyrant within this matchup. 6-1, and looking like might even be a Brazil score going into it. Valid Unit right now have been anything but bad. They have been all but horrible. I mean, this has been just a performance of a lifetime. And again, comparing this to Nighthaven, it just doesn't seem to be comparable at all. They have warmed up, it seems like. They're really playing at their peak. It's just only a matter of time until Cosma Gaming will either be forced to adapt or lose.
Adapting does seem to be the case with so much happening for them. It really is just going to be a question of how much more can they ask for, right? If you're Valid Unit, a 7-1 game would certainly look to be a happy ending, to say the least. Cosmic Gaming, on the other hand, I mean, realistically, 6 in a row, it's unlikely, not impossible, but definitely going to have to start here and now, to say the minimum.
Barton Gaming, or rather, it's going to be Barton Gaming here as the first or second pick from Kosma Gaming. Unsurprising, but again, they are starting to shift towards something that Valid Unit have been doing, and it's confidence, right? Operators such as the Ella, who has been being brought and picked up inside the comp scene a lot more, certainly screams out that. But also this run out mostly, right? Even though attempted by Klesty, doesn't go successful, although you walk out with not only a bit of pressure applied, but mostly also you being still alive. Normally runouts can easily be punished if anticipated, but thankfully for the side of Cosmic Gaming, that wasn't the case this time around. The Valentina now just have to wonder for themselves, when is the next swing going to come, right? It's always that thought lurking in the back of your mind.
It's Cosmic Gaming dropping in the heat as we do see the defense starting to look to be dismantled, right? We do get a bit of an interesting idea where they're kind of not really playing towards each other, and that could easily be a little bit of an issue if you find that first from Valid Unit without the trade commencing. Cosmic Gaming will be in a bit of a detrimental situation, so I'd like to see a bit of a different setup per chance, as there's the first going the way of Cosmic Gaming. Is I kind of am not a big fan of it. They're able to completely prove me wrong as Bebe shuts down and gets taken offline. Cosmic Gaming still standing strong and still looking composed.
Still looking composed for sure. Even though Valid Unit have lost a player again, it's the Twitch of all, not necessarily the end of the world, but Cosmic Gaming are certainly holding them one player down with these young Cadellas screaming out a bit of desperation as they're thrown to fight Ghosts. Cosmic Gaming are just sitting back relaxed, right? We have a player on top library, maybe now without a shield, but the LS Dice is still looking to stick around. The Azami now left alone to battle for herself, while Valid Unit are looking to kind of flush them on back down. Just unsuccessful though, right? Yelst finds Resi now amongst the second to be claimed. Valid Unit, they're not making it look any more plausible as Mushroom with the third already. Bob now falls. Has been a hero in the past, but can't wear the cape this time around. Cosmic Gaming have shut this down, and unless Valid Unit find themselves a 5v1, it might just be round over.
It's all going over. Is Klesty able to pick up another? Is Valid Unit? They're not able to get flawless, so we will be seeing the point able to shut that idea out of the corner, but looking like this pistol hitting over, trying to make their way onto the headshot, having the information gathered. The shots go in and connects to the kill as they pick it up. Looking good as they're just trying to bounce in and out, but unfortunately as they keep on bouncing, that shots will connect in the end as Valid Unit not able to shut it out just yet.
Not able to shut it out just yet. They're going to be kept within this match. Cosma Gaming are still surviving, but again, out of the following 4 rounds, they end up losing 1, and it's map number 3 we're going to be seeing quite shortly. Although Valid Units, they certainly didn't have a good time right there. We saw Cosma Gaming, again, their confidence has been picked up going on to this defensive, especially this defensive as they kept on swinging. We saw the Ellen solos being brought into play that were very, very preemptive with a lot of action. In the end stage, we still have Cosma Gaming, right, who are 4 rounds down. This is a similar story we saw on map number 1, which was Night Haven Labs. And even though that is a bit more lenient towards utility, unlike Chalet, which is guns hands down, 4 rounds in a row is a very difficult task. And to say that they're going to do it, I'd be lying. But Cosma Gaming, it's definitely not outside of the bounds of possibility.
It's looking good as Cosmic Gaming. It's as you said, right? It's almost impossible as you're gonna have to play this all but flawlessly. Valid Unit, on the other hand, just need to get even. You could even say lucky, right? They just need one perfect round that'll be able to bring them to the ending point. But how that'll work, we'll have to wait and see. As currently, it's definitely not looking easy.
Bravo drone out. Hacking wubs quickly. Again, similar function as the Twitch, just maybe converting the utility on for your own better instead of destroying it. But in the meanwhile, the defenders right now, they're just having a bout, right? We still have once more a similar type of playstyle where Kosma Gaming are looking to lurk above and catch some of these players off guard. And Valid Unit are starting to already get affected by the previous round, which is a good thing, especially for adaptation wise, because look at Baby already taking damage, but there's going to be the punish from Bob to take out that Fenrir. So no more repositioning where the FNATs activate. And meanwhile, though, Slake looking to contest some of these drones already found himself one. Information is still coming through, however, and two players on this mezzanine balcony just waiting for a good moment to maybe start pushing forward, but as of the moment, they're being held at bay.
Yeah, not able to get on into any action as Valid Unit just trying to hold this extremity, making sure that they're able to kind of find all the information one would initially be happy with before they're going to be able to fully opt in for any real engagements gambling onto an entrance as Cosmic Gaming needing to play well, but unfortunately, with Dice is down, a real playmaker for the team, it is going to be leaving it up to really Questy, who's on a bit of a tear as 8-6. Certainly not a KD to take lightly, as they've been on a mission so far to be able to pull Cosmic Gaming back into the action, but as they fall down, just as I say that, it's looking rough. But the double kill, Yowist brings it back as they take two, looking to get their hands dirty as they pull it back into equalization. And now iDerp's trying to find the kill, but unfortunately, the shots do not connect. Still going to be looking to make something happen. Peeking in and out, it goes awry. It's Valid Unit. Still going to be able to keep this game alive as the double kill goes over, but Bob instantly gets traded. A 1v2 scenario as Sleek gets left to do it all.
C4 sent, doesn't connect what wanted to. 30 seconds and the plant will need to happen, but again, Sleek in a spot where if he's able to pick off Drip, the round might just be over. He holds the diffuser. A bit of wonder why they're not playing together, and especially going into this corridor, it might be difficult to do so. Playing off the hatch, trying to gather information. They have no clue where the Tubarao stands, but takes off a bit of this thermite, trying to go for the shot, but it's going to be Drip to find Glory in the end, and it will be, of course, your winners of map number 2, Kosma Gaming, able to keep themselves continuing within this grand final and take us all the way to map number 3 with an even better score from map number 1. Regulation 7-2, it's theirs.
It's absolutely phenomenal as they're going to be able to pull it up to a third map despite what looked to be a devastating game on map number 1. We had kind of assumed, okay, they're going on to their own map, but now it should be good. But unfortunately, we saw a complete turnaround, a 180 after a dominant performance does come out. Valid Unit able to bring us map number 3. We'll see who's able to take it, as it is rough if you're on the Cosmic Gaming roster after taking such a heavy hit in this last map of Chalet. Going on through, I mean, do you have any predictions?
I really don't, because again, I thought this was going to be a quicker map number 2 as it was on Nighthaven, but no, I don't have any predictions. It is Rainbow Six Siege, so things can go either way.
Yes. Well,
And
I don't know. Are we
yes,
going to a break, or are we just like,
yes, let's go to a break.
all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go to a quick little break. We'll see you all right after this. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you next time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun. One final time, we come to you for game number 3 of the Fire Season 1. It's been a pleasure coming to you with my great, phenomenal, amazing co-caster, Puffo Bob, as we join you one last time for game number 3. We'll see who's able to find victory right here and right now.
Right here and right now, we're going into the last one. This is the decider for the grand final, and who ends up either winning 200 euros or the loser who ends up walking away with about half of that. And in the meanwhile, again, also the glory of being the Fire Season Series #1 champion. I mean, it's been a long path. Like we said, it's been going on for just about over a month, and it all comes down to this last map. It will be Bank, which is a lot more different compared to the Chalet and Night Haven. You know, there's some similarities between the first two, but this one, not so much. A big death box, one of the big three, some may say. When it comes down to size alone, this map is absolutely humongous, but it also means that roamers and roam clearers will have a lot of meaning. Although, we're going to have to see what bans come out first.
Yeah, we're walking straight on into the action as these two teams, they're looking to fight it out, looking to make this game their own. And Puffo Bob, I'm just so excited. Right, we saw 7-3 followed up with the 7-2. Both teams taking each other's map picks in very, very dominant fashion. This time we come for the final opener, going to Bank, as we'll see who's able to find success. As so far, we look towards Cosmo on the attack, Valid Unit on the defense. Valid Unit, they've been able to prove fruitful on defense quite sometimes, and Kosma Gaming, they've had a relatively rough time in their attacking as well. So we'll see how that is going to be able to translate into the current matchup. But it definitely seems as if with how both these two teams have been able to really dominate on each other's peak, we should be able to get a strong final map.
100% a strong final map. Again, the first two have been a bit quick in and out. A 7-3, a 7-2 doesn't really have the longevity that normally you'd expect, especially when it's a grand final. Again, we are going to map 3, which is a great thing, but we've seen both these teams on very standard maps play at their very best. Now we're going on to one that doesn't have as high of a pick rate, and we only get to wonder what the results might be. Well, for now, we're just going to have to wait, but again, we're heading over towards this top floor as the first. Normally, teams really do love playing for the bottom side, and I'll explain that later once we actually get to it, because I imagine Valid Unit will pick it up considering its strength. Although this top one, Kosma Gaming, not wasting a moment, right? Getting a lot of utility, especially that post-bind utility. The Ying, the Sens. On a map like this, you can just repel on Windows, get yourself the main breach, and the plant should be safe and sound to secure. But in the meanwhile, a very early spawn peak here. Celesti already having a lot of his HP riddled down and almost his head taken off. Quite risky this early on.
It's already both teams playing with fire as they look to try and end this off. Cosmic Gaming, how will they attempt to really push through onto this attack? They need to explode, and Valid Unit having the opportunity to be able to shut them down here now would be nice. We saw them taking the opener last game, but they were only able to find 2 in a row. This time, see what they can inevitably end up getting, as we do see them really going for these close range weaponry, but it's Yellowist to open us up. Find out, baby, please. And it gets followed up. Cosmic Gaming looking to really dominate the battlefield as Mushroom's able to shut down the second player, Rusty. And they don't stop there. They're firing on all cylinders, Puffo Bobs. They take the third player down to the depths. Is now Valid Unit in a 2v5 situation. Very unlikely to be able to make anything happen. But we do see a possible 1v1 to commence as playing towards the high ground, breaking open the doors, looking to try and breach forward, but it will be Yalwis taking them from behind, and now the Valid Unit down to only Bob, who's in a 1v5, able to connect onto 2, but that's all they're getting.
Yeah, Bob has shined bright in the past, but this light is now dim as Kosma Gaming will find themselves the opening round. Again, played really well about those opening frags. We did see some upsets from the side of Resi. Didn't expect the kill to come out like that, but was the first to fall. Many to follow along. And now we head to that bottom floor, which I'm waiting to see the last pick. Yeah, this is why this bottom floor is so extremely tanky, right? You have yourself a lot of nooks and crannies, a lot of corners, and it's extremely tight to enter in as an attacker. As a defender, though, the perfect way to counter that, go you with Tachanka. you just make sure that every time they try to go for a plant, a bit of utility is set off so they can't necessarily find the comfortability for it. And as long as that Tachanka stands and there's about a minute remaining, the Shumika launcher can about waste just every single second of it. So we're going to have to see how Valid Unit do end up responding to that. There's some changes being made, right? Over from the floors onto the Osa, a shield being picked up. Flores back in action, but also it's going to be the Glass, which we might be seeing towards either server or garage. As for now, though, again, a large adaptation coming in from the attack.
The Valid unit looking to try and make the comeback. We'll see what they can inevitably end up finding. Is right now they are still going to be heavily investing towards the center stage, right? We don't see anybody going for the extremities just yet, but as Kosma Gaming looking nice, they're not able to find anybody with this drone just yet, but the detection should be coming out sooner rather than later. They have these riot shields available. This could potentially be nice for scouting. We'll have to wait and see what they do end up finding. Right now, we look towards these top two players, right, hiding through this cave. Gonna look to try and be able to isolate players without anybody in real trading capacity. As there's just Cosmic Gaming walking through, we see the grenades coming out, looking to clear out space. This gives Valid Unit a little bit of info as they go for some shots, trying to spare out the knees, but unfortunately the feet are going to be capitalized upon, able to get a bit of damage done. Dicey's drops to low HP, now gonna have to try and back off if they want to stay alive.
Couple of shots here. The Glass revealing himself for the moment, but it seems like Valid Unit aren't really playing any games right now. Besides a game winning, the Aruna is absolutely handling business. Speaking of which, the Osa will fall eventually. A lot of damage dealt in the early stage of that round, especially initiation-wise, as Bob holding square by himself again. Valid Unit have taken a large approach of covering and holding down the ground that they rightfully so own. Kosma Gaming, though, not with much of a breaking point, right? The floors here could potentially find them. The first back turn to his enemies and one prior to it. Cosma Gaming now, one player in the lead. We see the Shamikas doing their damage, right? Especially those fires just being let down on servers. As smokes are being sent on down, that gives the Claws clear advantage, right? You can see through the enemies. They can't see through you. A couple of shots. Jaeger's going to be low. Contested close. You take that pillar for coverage, but Drip will be walking away with his life intact, although not expecting such a close push-up by Yels, who takes him out, and now all left down to the hands of Defoint. Can he handle all this pressure by himself? The plant going down. Inevitably, he will not be able to stop it, but takes the second round around this backside through Vault and tries to approach it from A, although is shot out by Klesty, who just finds the second round here, going consecutive still.
Yeah, look at this prediction, right? They knew this angle would be taken, as they know how that retake is going to be ensuing, and as of now, it's just looking good for sure as Valid Unit. They're still staying alive. They're still staying competitive, able to shut down two bodies, but that's about all they're going to be able to find as Cosmic Gaming looking like this is going to be showing glimpses of game number one, where they were able to find a decent lead to open us off this time. Whether or not that will be ensuing, different question, as Valid Unit has been able to put up a strong performance so far, especially when we look towards Bob, who was able to find 2 kills on the first round, and then when we look towards Bebe and iDerps, who were able to kind of be able to keep this game competitive, at least for the time being, within the second round.
Cosmic Gaming, again, they've been loving their shields. Although the Blitz hasn't found too much value, again, it is that fact that you can really easily clear a lot of space in a quick amount of time with a shield, because again, the enemies can shoot at you all they want, unless they find a headshot or enough tick damage over time. That shield is going to riddle them through. But now we're going on to the bottom floor, and Valid Unit, as they have adapted a bit with that Malusi and Fenrir change, Cosmic Gaming are looking to do just about the same. They're going to switch over to the Blackbeard, keep the Yink for this one, but most importantly, incorporate that Twitch so the Goyo canisters can be easily cleared in the early part of the round.
Working this side, we see a lot of the Valid Unit sticking together, right? Looking towards the staircase, we got 3 players just swarming around it. Could possibly be able to interact nicely with Cosmic Gaming for them if they're able to find the good trades and be able to isolate some picks. Definitely could be nice, but as the cameras get broken, it will be Cosmic Gaming trying to make something happen as they start entering. Rusty with a bit of height differential picks off the headshot. Klefty unable to make anything happen off of it, as now the Valid Unit opens up nicely, as it's going to be looking even better as they drop the HP down onto Mushroom.
Drone's coming around. Kosma Gaming off to a rough beginning. They still do have 2 minutes left, so attempting to make a comeback not impossible. Again, we've seen them do quite some damage with a single player, which has been kind of a storyline here for Bob in the past, but that's for Valid Unit, right? He's still alive. An instant shot. Speak of the devil, Bob will fall. Good 1-for-1 deal. Now backing off to main, where 2 players currently reside and are trying to hold down this fort, but Kosma Gaming's pressure right now on this top floor a bit overwhelming, as Resi has been wasting an amazing amount of time. The objective of Roamer isn't to get kills, ladies and gentlemen, it's to waste time, and he's done that incredibly well. But for the trade of it, Valid Unit have lost that player advantage, as now they can only rely on their last 3.
Yeah, the Cosmic Gaming, they're pulling it back despite being down in a 4v5. They've made everything go their way, as now they're going to start to ensue even further. Look at these last 3 players all bunched up, all getting isolated. The extremities covered. Cosmic Gaming looking very, very, very nice, as now they're able to locate one of the enemies, able to put some pressure onto them. We see the fire extinguishing any real chances, as now they're pushing over. How much more can they ask for, as they do spot out one? Not able to keep the engagement alive. Riot Shield is available, and it will be able to give them a little bit of ensuing damage as Mushroom picks up the first, as the Valid Unit crumbling ensues. Kosma Gaming having nothing really left to do except just put down this diffuser, and it's likely to be able to shut that progress down for Valid Unit. A 3rd round in a row certainly does give off deja vu of game number 1. And as the shots keep on living up to their names, they're firing on all cylinders, as Dicey's picks up onto the next, is only up to the point to get anything done, and they're able to pick up one more than just a consolation kill. Doesn't seem to be available for them, and it's Valid Unit who's just going to be able to keep this retake in their favor.
Yeah, there's not much that can be done, right? You can take out Mushroom and your bullets out on him. He's extremely low on HP. You don't have any more impact, and you're heavily injured in that fight. In fact, you exposed yourself to a shield for way too long, and that's the first mistake. So 101, you do not turn your eye away from a shield. Always have to keep him in some sort of spot of your vision. However, 3rd round for Kosma Gaming, and this is a bit of a defender-sided map, so Valid Unit taking your time out here. Very good call. We've seen it in map number 1. Even though it didn't necessarily work out for the best, it's still a part of this plan that might be able to kick them back into the match so they can once more begin a sort of momentum swing. Although, again, look at the kills themselves, right? Mushroom and Yels carrying 11 between the two, which they've been able to win out 2 rounds by themselves. As for Valid Units, they can't necessarily match up to that expectation, and unless someone's going to be stepping up to the task and starting to really change things for the better, results might not be changing.
You'd imagine that with how this game has currently been working itself out, it is going to be extremely difficult to get anything really done. Valid Unit still on the back foot, as Cosmic Gaming has been putting some heavy, heavy pressure on them with 3 rounds in a row being taken halfway through the first half, and it's certainly looking very, very nice. We see the Blackbeard and the Warden both getting picked off, and how that will be able to approach, that will be the question, as we've seen the Blackbeard getting a heavy prevalence so far within the matchup.
Certainly so. Right now, Kosma Gaming, again, they found themselves a great lead. We haven't seen an insane comeback in any of the past 2 matches, but maybe it's time for Valid Unit to change the fate, to change something in the puzzle, and maybe reconstruct it for their own. However, though, the attacking side has been very good. Again, I have to give it to Kosma Gaming. They've been really good at clearing out these attempts by Valid Unit. The Roamers have given them a bit of trouble towards the early round part of the previous one, but they ended up clearing it. They got themselves the man advantage, and then they played it safe around each other, and again, have utilized that shield to the max. Although Valid Unit have taken that into accord, right? We went into that 3rd wave of bans. Blackbeard is now gone. The Warden in return, though, does give a bit more availability for Dices and his Glass to do more damage.
As we head on in, the round will be starting up. Looking well done from the Cosmic Gaming squad so far. Will they be able to keep the firepower alive? So far, we are going to be seeing a bit of an engagement up towards the top side, as we get to see a lot of players in the executive round shooting up towards the top, looking to try and put up some pressure, destroying the windows, but on the other side, will be happening just over there as well, as the Valid unit going to be hearing all this done and dusted. We'll see what they do end up opting in for if rotations do end up getting called. But this angle could be really, really deadly. Unfortunately, will not be the case just yet as they aren't able to fish out any real engagements. But instead, it is just going to be another fight as the extremities get held. These openings, these choke points could be crucial for Valid Unit to hold. But as the first kill goes the way of Sleek, they get shot from behind. Won't be able to confirm the kill. Rezi gets taken down, but nothing gets traded for the Valid Unit squad.
Yeah, Resi falls. It's an opening kill, and again, not much of a return from Valid Unit, but it's still very plausible for them to do something. Bob has taken damage, meaning he's gotten proactive in the meanwhile, looking to avenge his teammate, but it's these repels that are so deadly. That's why we see a castle. That's why Resi picked it up, because the repels on this map are absolutely brutal. You can hold so much, the entirety of both sides, as a matter of fact. So trying to play on the outskirts of it might be the plan here for Valid Unit, but as of the current moment, we're going to use that aura. We're going to block off as many visible angles that the enemies could use against us, and just fully send it with the Ying. Smoke Babes are going to make it a bit more difficult, but there's no tick damage being taken. A second one is thrown. He's looking to stick it through, but there's just too much damage of an income. Valid Unit are wiping Kosma Gaming as of the moment, and Bob going for the repel players. He's hunting them down. He's had too much, been a victim before, and now he turned the tides and try to find Kosma Gaming at their weakest with Sleek on square, Klesty on these repels, who is now looking to catch him. And even though while Bob is low, look at him just playing a ring around the Rosie. Does eventually fall, and Kosma Gaming, even though only one player down with 50 seconds and no diffuser, someone's going to need to make a move.
Valid Unit looking like this might be their round to be able to finally flip the script on game at number 3. Will they be inevitably able to make that happen, though? That will be the question, as we do see Leslie trying to get something done in a 2v3. Leslie is certainly a playmaker who you'd want to be alive, getting the shots, taping them down as this gap starts to be closed. It's a 2v2 now.
Getting tracked. Difficult spot. Diffuser has made its way into the site and is being attempted. Planned down halfway through. Gonna be stuck on. There's the confidence from Sleek, gonna hold down. But no, one more stands here, right? And the HP count from Kosma Gaming isn't necessarily positive. Has more than both of them combined, but if they can get themselves outside of this building onto the rappel, which they do, it should be extremely tricky for this bandit to find his way out, especially when he's being constantly tracked, hunted, and now just confused what his options might be.
Yeah, this is a really, really rough situation, as you have to get onto the diffuser, but you know these shots keep going wild. They're keeping it up, trying to play aggressive, but the time is still not for you. You must get it done, but the 4th round commits. This grand final looks to be going the distance, the 3 maps, but when we get to the finale, it certainly has been looking all the way as Valid Unit unable to close it out despite the 2v3 situation. It's a 2v0 to end off the game.
4-0, Kosma Gaming are looking as bright as ever. Flawless still. Valid Unit, even though that round might have gotten close, they let go of the advantage they had given themselves for a moment. Bob tried playing mind games, but he was a bit encumbered by the amount of movement he really had in that moment, and HP as well. With the rappel player really doing a lot of damage, the last 2 from Valid Unit did not play together, nor did they recognize all the open lines of sight Kosma Gaming had obtained during the process of the round. As now 4-0, again, as I've mentioned, this has been an absolute brutal performance by Kosma Gaming, one that we've seen in map number 1. Maybe Chalet not as much, but when it comes down to tactile and utility-wise, this is a team that can certainly hold up their own title.
It's looking like this roster might just be able to have enough to get it over the line in the very end, as we saw early victories from them right when we were over on the labs, as they were able to take a 7-3 victory, and then after they fell down with an even more dominant victory from Valid Unit, it seemed like this game would be going the distance, but so far Kosma Gaming on their attacking side has been looking out of this world in terms of firepower. The strats have been phenomenal, and just in general, the way that they're able to facilitate their engagements and be able to shut down their opposition by forcing them and flooding them into certain situations. Kosma Gaming has been absolutely crucially putting the works, and Valid Unit doesn't really seem to have a real response to it.
3 attackers just stacked out, four attackers stacked outside of sight, meaning we might just see a rush. Bob, you can be running into bullets like those. Wallbang's a bit too close, and he's now left with only a couple of sticks of HP. There's going to be the breach set on down smokes as well. The glass is going to be looking over his teammates while the rest are rushing on in, get that plant instantly down, and this is the power of that scope, right? The Huntsman rifle that can see through all sorts of thermals, as Yelts will find Trip amongst of him trying to peek. Bob has sneaked up close, but again, it's a bit too late to deny. The post plant finds himself dices. His location has been revealed, has low HP, but still looks to fight out this glass, who is now once more holding a power spot. Capital bolts are sent out. We do have Sleek with one. Yells to follow on the second in the round, and Kosma Gaming right now are having Valid Unit fall apart. The final two right around the diffuser, but completely smoked out of all vision, attempting to fight against Blue, but they're crumbled down in 5 rounds in a row. The consecutive run will remain.
Valid Unit just unable to make anything happen as an explosive entry, getting the diffuser down within seconds. Kosma Gaming taking their 5th final round of the half and about to hit match point. You gotta imagine that if you're on the Valid Unit, the mental is destroyed, Buffalo Bob. This game is going completely out of control.
That it is. I mean, what do you do at this point? Kosma Gaming are extremely well prepared for this. Again, they have the strategies down. They definitely do have the chemistry locked in. Valley's unit, again, we've seen them perform really well on maps like Chalet, and while their gun skills certainly can't be questioned, it's at times the responses to how Kosma Gaming end up pushing forward that end up really being the largest question of this match. However, again, look at Valley Unit. I think that they're going to be looking to kind of repeat what they did on Chalet. On Chalet, they realized, map number 1, Nighthaven didn't work out. We were really too focusing on trying to play Kosma Gaming's match. How about we set up a game of our own? We're going to play aggressive. We're going to put Bob on the Vigil, who possibly also has the Boss G. I'm not sure if he does or not. Right now, he's carrying the secondary. We're going to go for runouts. We're going to play as aggressive as we possibly can, as the Goyo is looking to make a highlight reel for himself, while Kosma Gaming are just taking a bit of free granted space. Right now, Baby is hoping that someone jumps on down into these sewers, but no one's really taken the bait.
And it's looking really, really rough. We'll have to wait and see what does inevitably happen with this, because currently, Kosma Gaming, it's just looking like they're gonna have everything going for them, right? We take a look towards the player in 2F hallway. They're gonna try and make something happen with this riot shield in hand, and with Mushroom inputted so highly, Valid Unit doesn't really seem to have any information regarding where this location has been taken. So with so much space already seen, now they're about to run to another player as well. As the shots come in, they're not able to make the connection into the kill. It's looking a little bit rough, however, for Yelris. However, it won't matter. Bob falls to him. As it's looking like Kosma Gaming may just be able to shut down the door right here, right now. They pick up the first and look to finish it off. And as we see in the chat, Valid Unit, they're realizing it. Gulp, says Bob, as they look to find another round. Kosma Gaming keeps this game even further as they locate the bomb sites.
They locate the bomb sites, they know where they're headed. Another kill for Yells, but Dice is taken out in return. Although Valid Unit aren't able to persist some sort of man count equalization, it is the final 2, and even, I would dare say, the best 2 operators. Maybe switch out Drip for Baby when it comes down to utility, but the Tachanka certainly can do his duty in stalling out for as long as possible. Again, those Shumikas can prolong for a long, and I mean excessively long amount of time. In the meanwhile, though, support of Mushroom's Fuse pick. You don't get to see Fuse every now and then, so I am quite a fan of it. And it's also bringing in a shield, which again, Kosma Gaming, no doubt about it, they've been comfortable with using, as now Shamikas are setting on down. You're trying to hunt down the Tachanga so the Fuse can get the plant down easily, but this can opener is the default spot for you to get as safe of a plant as imaginable through the server side, which again, shows the experience of these players. Nate sent on bottom main, a rotation towards this B side so you can find yourself more ground and of course, mostly more coverage to use those Shamikas, but in the moment, Kosma Gaming, they're playing it patiently and they're playing it slow.
Yeah, we'll have both 2 players located same position. We do see the utility getting brought in. Bebe able to shut down Mushroom, finds the equalization, trying to get something more happening. We do still not see the diffuser online. 20 seconds remain as Kosma Gaming may perhaps be in a little bit of a rougher situation than one would have initially expected. But as Sleek drops Defoint down to the ground, It leaves this half all into the hands of Bay, please. As they find the first, will be able to make something
Ooh,
happen. 7
it might be
seconds
over.
remaining. We'll just be running for the hills as no time remains. Kosma Gaming unable to make the flawless half as it does go down 5-1.
5-1. Again, that moment, Kosma Gaming could have kept a very, very flawless continuation, but in the end, we have to give it to Baby. Extremely well played. Again, consider there were two players. If I find the right pick, if I get the lucky one who holds the diffuser, we're down to our last seconds. I can very much do this. He runs away with it, pistol in hand, goes for the hatch, sees that no one's really going for it, and the Demos only had one more option. The counter was at 0. You either have to stick it or you have to let the round on go by. Either way, the result was going to be the same, as now we head into the second wave. With it, round number 7 about to be there, but the bans here, Capital and Goyo. Again, it's leaning in towards the fact that the defenders really like playing this Goyo, and there's a reason. He's strong on this map.
Yeah, I mean, they've been able to make so much happen as now the Valid unit too much leeway has been given to Kosma Gaming, but if they can be able to start to mount a comeback, it could really be the first time we've seen it in the series. And in the grand final, Puffo Bob, who knows what we'll be expecting, right? Like, this game could go either team's way, but it certainly does seem with a 4-round differential, it is going to be a very, very tall task.
Yeah, tall task is definitely a good way to put it, but in all honesty, hey, Valid Unit, they've done it on Chalet, where I even personally, I'll be honest, I did have a small bit of doubt after the performance on Nighthaven, but they zipped me up. It was mostly the fact that, again, they can play well. They just need a moment to lock in and get things together. They've already used their tactical timeout within the first half. Now they just have to hope that there's going to be a shining moment they can pick up on their attacking side, which, again, normally this map is defender-sided, but with these two teams, you never really know.
I mean, it could. We've been seeing so much crazy stuff from these two teams, as you said. Valid Unit, they've been able to make a lot of magic happen this time around. Kosma Gaming starting their defense. We'll see whether or not they're going to be able to find a new half as simply as one would expect. As Valid Unit, now they're going to be the ones pressured against time. As we'll see how they do inevitably end up opting in. Seems like they want to go for a really fast execute as they go up, trying to get some verticality, looking to play from the heights as Kosma Gaming likely to have found a little bit of information regarding that. We'll see if they do end up opting in to really contest these extremities.
We'll have to see again. Earlier, Valid Unit, they loved the respawn peak of their runouts. Gotta give it to Baby, right? Especially on that Goyo ended up being the clutch master as well, someone that was needed for at least this one round to be given. But maybe there's going to be more where that came from. Kosma Gaming currently on the defensive. Again, not playing the aggressive role. We see the usual Osa here, which not a very commonly picked operator, but on a map like Bank, extremely, extremely usable. Smoke Babe just chucked half-court throw, but it is shot out midair, so not going to be landing any pushback. In the meanwhile, though, it gives some space to the Thermite to find the breach, back off, go and repel, and keep that diffuser safe.
Valid Unit, they're starting to make their attack, right? We see a lot of players up towards 2F square. So now they are going to try and mount something. Currently, they find the first actually, so it's really good stuff. Defoint's able to take down Steel is a really nice player, and as Sleek is down, 7 kills on the board. They were a real mastermind behind this Kosma Gaming success, and with them off the board, it leaves Valid Unit with a little bit of leeway to be able to find even more, but definitely not the end, as we know they've been good at getting those first bloods. We've been consistently seeing that from them. But Kosma Gaming, when it comes to having to play the comeback game and play catch-up, they've been phenomenal when it comes down to it. Right now, we do just see, about to take a bit of an engagement as Bob. They can't die here. We can't see them falling down, and you might be in a little bit of a rough spot if that does inevitably end up happening. The first gets found. The second, as Mushroom picks it up, it will be the trade as Bebe is able to mount a little bit of a comeback. But in a 3v3 situation, the Valid Unit, they've lost the leverage they once gained.
They've lost the leverage. 3 against 3 again. Rappel here, extremely risky, but look at the players just choked on down. You've exposed yourself too much. Even though Rusty does end up finding the finalization that was needed. Again, the goal was reached. Dice is taking heavy damage, but that smoke should be kept within bounds. Rusty taking heavy damage, still finding the smoke, however. And again, 2v1, plant going down. The bandit has no whereabouts, but these red pings are coming in quite handy. He could deny the defuse, doesn't have the line of sight. The janitor reinforcements are starting to work against him, and the defensive setup to go against you. Flashes are there. It will catch the bandit off guard, but now he's just trying to take some time, right? A bit of head space, but your head is exposed to Resi, and he's going to take it clean off.
Yeah, he doesn't give you any real chances as we see the round going over. A phenomenal job from the Valid unit to be able to start off on the right foot, not giving Kosma Gaming match point just yet. Gonna still keep this game competitive, keep this game alive as they start the comeback that could potentially be what will give them a grand championship, $200 possibly on the line. And if you can get that done, that certainly would be looking nice. As it's a lot of comeback needed, right? This is 3 rounds to find an equalized position, 5 in a row to be able to find it without getting match point.
I don't know for it to be none more than that. But Valid unit, I mean, looking solid on their attack. Strong opening rounds. Gotten a bit close. Kosma Gaming still fighting back heavily. But are we going to see the same type of variety from Kosma Gaming as we did with Valid unit, right? Or rather the other way around. When Kosma Gaming were on the attack, we even saw a bit of mixture of rush, right? They were either playing passive one round, the next they were fully sending it in, and that's just a pace that you can't always read into. Valid unit, on the other hand, have been playing it a bit more by the basics, but Kosma Gaming haven't been able to keep track.
Yeah, I mean, Valid unit, they need to be able to keep this aggression alive, right? They need to keep that proactive play style that they've been adopting into their heads. As if they start to be a little bit more static, it'll kind of be a little bit of a nice play for them. But if you really go too aggressive, we know that Kosma Gaming can punish. We know that they have that potential to be really, really punishing. And how Valid unit plays this could really determine, right? Already iDerps playing such an aggressive angle so fast, and they're really halting for nothing, but nobody's here to punish, and that's really good from them, right? They're starting to be Kosma Gaming, who's going to have to find this player out, and if they can't do that quickly, it could really just be a very, very rough situation.
An extremely rough situation indeed. Although look at this, right? A minute has already passed us and there's been nothing. We see the new DMR being played by the Nook. Again, in a very strong gun. Hopefully, I imagine Resi's going to be good at putting it to use. A red ping around the corner tends to wall bang. Again, the Nook is mostly about trying to keep yourself quiet and unnoticed. That no longer the case. One of the players from Square here, we do see the smoke could instantly take out Resi, who was at danger of being an opening frag here towards Square side. A bit of peek. Maybe it could even be fought against. But as of the moment, Yelst taking the opposition to try and fight around this elbow side. Smoke, on the other hand, around blue, takes minor damage. Nothing more than a slap on the wrist for the moment, but a shotgun up close here is extremely dangerous to work against. So you're going to throw that canister, you're going to back off, and look, it's all of a sudden only 1 more minute remaining.
As the minute remains, Kosma Gaming going to have a lot of time to be able to make something happen potentially. As Valid unit looking to stay aggressive, looking to get something done right here, right now, as no kills have been seen so far. Kosma Gaming just allowing the space to be conceded, and you really can't be allowing this to happen. The shotgun's starting to barge through these walls. As now Valid unit going to be able to look at the bomb sites, looking to get this done right here, right now. Find the clocks, flip it upside down. If they can get that done, I mean, this is a round that Kosma Gaming would be hoping for, right? They don't fall early. And if they can find match point just after Valid unit gets there first, it will look nice. And it's so good as Resi falls. As Valid unit picks it up. Oh my gosh. Puffa Bob. You think it's possible?
I don't know. Valid unit, I mean, they have 10 seconds. The diffuser is within their own grasp, but Mushroom's going to set one down, although it's a back and forth action here, and Kosma Gaming aren't going to let it go so easily. There's a lot of smoke, babes, but the plant is looking to be committed. It's now halfway through. It's done, and now all down to swings. How well can we play around it? You find the down, you find one more. A pistol in hand and a dream, just looking to be set in action. Both these players low on HP. They're playing off of desperation and hope. Information is coming through, so you know the last one's involved, or maybe you don't. Yos has no clue about it. His down teammate right around the corner. You're going to finish the Habana. Now it's down to the Nomad trying to deny the pickup, but it will not be through. 20 seconds. You need to hold out for 13. You're going for the swings. You're swing upon. Not a single bullet landing. And what are we doing? Kosma Gaming just can't lock it down. The point will come out on top and keep the attacking side still within the bounds of a possible comeback.
You can't be allowing this to go through if you're on the Kosma Gaming. A 2v1 goes the way of Valid as they drop the first who got rezzed. And then, I mean, we just saw phenomenal work, right? They had that bomb site down, and it was so close. 2 seconds were all Valid Unit had to be able to get that, and they were done. Amazing work from Valid Unit to be able to keep this game alive, keep this comeback rolling as Kosma Gaming just conceding way too much space without any real contesting. We saw a 5v5 until it was around a minute in, and you can't allow that whatsoever. It's tragic, to say the least.
Tragic, to say the least, is a good way to put it, but Kosma Gaming, I mean, the amount of shots there that just went missed, it's honestly a lot of opportunities that they could have very easily taken care of, but rather didn't. I don't know if it was the pressure, but they were down to a 3v1. Keep that in mind. 3v1 post plant Nomad, who is absolutely stressed the hell out, but Defoint by the end stage kept himself somewhat composed, just about enough to win this out, which is extremely respectable. But Kosma Gaming, they kept on swinging one by one. It's as if they did not want to win. It's honestly tragic. Again, everyone wants the last kill. You want to deny the enemy player from getting a clutch scenario, and you want to do it by yourself, which, again, no bad intentions. By the end, you still need to keep yourself grounded to some sort of team play.
It's unfortunate to say the least. Now Valid Unit see what they can inevitably opt in for in a round like this. This is 3 rounds in a row now that Kosma Gaming has conceded. This is going to be where it really does start to get rough. This is where you got to dig deep, go into the strat book, find everything that one could possibly ask for. Resi going to be aggressive, looking to get the drone online in a decent position to be able to stay alive, utilizing this. But as they find their location, Kosma Gaming now going to look to probably try and find some kind of good positioning, but still is Kosma having this information as the shots go in. Barely, unfortunately, and not able to find it, but the head gets spotted as Clusty gets taken aback. It's a 4v5, and it looks good, but not for long. The SMG shuts down Bob.
An unfortunate ending. We lose the Izami, traded out for the line. Certainly some value here for the attacking side on the positive. Again, not being able to reconstruct site to your own will. Put down those concrete walls. The Kiva barriers definitely could have came in a bit more handy than the line scan. However, Kosma Gaming keep on moving forward. Usually it's a smoke you put in the elevator so he can play close with a shotgun and push players back with those babes, but he's prioritizing the blue stairs where, again, Dices might even lay himself upon. As of the moment, though, most of the defenders have been pushed on back, and comparing this to the previous round, the time management by Valid Unit is a lot more workable with, right? But look at Dice's position. They haven't fully cleared open area, and there's a bound to be some mistakes. Dices finds Resi, gonna back off instantly, skedaddling back into sight as he's gotten himself a kill, but more importantly, he's caused confusion in the enemy team.
The Valid Unit, 50 seconds remain. Lots of time to be able to make something happen. They spawned out what they need. And what will they do next? Find the first. It's all good. For Sleek being taken down leaves them in a 3v3. Valid Unit now having everything one could possibly ask for as they no longer are playing from the man disadvantage. Shots go in. Unable to make the connection, though. The location will be revealed. 2 players up here. The Mushroom finds the isolated individual. And now Valid Unit down to a 2v3 situation with 18 seconds. Puffo Bob, this bomb is about to be taken down.
For a hand, Dice is ready to throw it. Has those Google lenses to keep himself safe, and Kosma Gaming just gonna nicely spray down the final 2 as they attempt to make something workable, but in the end, it just won't come through. We have ourselves match point. 3 rounds ahead. Kosma Gaming are certainly looking great. Again, they are going onto a defensive side now. The sites will most probably be upstairs, but we have one more wave of bans before even this possibility of the match being over is there. And I wonder what they're going to be, right? We've been seeing a lot of Warden on the defensive. He's been quite a blunderance. I wonder if it's something that Paladino will get rid of. No, the Mirror, on the other hand, which is just about as reasonable, but the Glass, outstanding from the attacking side and has been a bit annoying to deal with.
Puffa Bob, this game has been phenomenal so far. We've gone the distance, 3 maps, and as we finally get to this conclusion, it really does beg the question, what will these two teams opt in for the very end? We get to see that, and now as we get to this final part of this map, potentially 3 rounds needed for Valid Unit if they want to bring us to an overtime. And it's a very tall task, right? You need to be almost, if not absolutely perfect. As Cosmic Gaming, we know how they can punish mistakes, and we know that when they get to that man advantage, it can be extremely detrimental to be able to make the comeback towards it.
That 100% is. Match point, right? It's rough. Valid Unit have been looking stronger as they've continued into this match, adapting and at times even overcoming, but Cosmic Gaming with this overhand have just been relenting, unrelenting, better put. And right now, the attackers, they have one thing in mind. It's the fact that they can repel on these windows, right? It's the fact that they can take this top floor from many different angles. You can even take lobby side, which hasn't been approached too much, and Cosmic Gaming aren't set up too much for it either. So it's a battle of it's the clash of the titans at this point, right? It's all coming down to who can outgun who, and some of these angles are really nicely being set up by Sleek. I like it. Might use it in my ranked match.
I mean, we could probably use a lot of this stuff in our ranked matches. I don't know about you, but I mean, these players are doing stuff I've never even thought of. And Valid Unit, they're gonna try and keep that alive as they're gonna try and make all the crazy strats happen just to finish off a round, make sure that they can keep this game going. Look at this angle, very, very tight, and could possibly find something. The feet gets spotted as it's all up, and it's a double as it's going for Sleek to drop 2 and look to put the coffin in the Valid Units game. But it will be Sleek taken down, coming up in, as it is still a very, very close game. Valid Units still able to keep contesting alive, but as 2 players fall, it's not going to be looking easy by any means.
This is a really rough beginning. Again, you can't have your flanks covered as, I would say, plausibly no longer, right? You're rid of that Nomad, and even then, Cosmic Gaming keep up the pressure. Now it's Resi alone with that send, which could be extremely useful going into the late part of the round, but if he's going to be locked down and stuck alone and keep on getting pushed, it might be difficult for him to do anything. Right now, Cosmic Gaming have focused their attention on the main breach, however, as we have one player on Repel, we see the Osa stepping on in, and there's not much utility that can clear the shield so easily. Hopefully the smoke babes are going to land. A bit of contention, the Rooney will go down, but won't be able to be finished as Bob wants to preserve his own life for now. C4, maybe send. Klesi taking heavy damage. The Warden will have to just wait and accept that Yost might not be able to be picked up once more. Nade sent into Janitor, while the rest of Valid units have picked up the pace. Now with 55 seconds, right, you have no more utility on the defensive side. Yes, you have that C4 that the Bandit is rocking, but you're going to need to use it correctly. Is swinging out, just no information whatsoever. Resi's able to pick up Kachu off guard a second as well, and it seems Valid unit have found themselves just the light at the end of the tunnel. Plant going down, and all in the hands of Mushroom. Can he deny this? Utility's really being a bit of a blunder, a thorn in the side of his foot, as now Resi holding him Janitor. He's done it for twice, he'll do it for a third time, and he'll be goddamn good to finish this round.
It's insane how we saw a 3v5 turn into a 4v3 off of the fall from oh my gosh, I can't even speak, Sleek. But as of now, they just completely turned it around, and Valid Unit brought this game back into a almost equalized position. Now only 2 rounds needed. The comeback from 5-0 to 6-4 brings this game certainly to an even closer position. This is the closest game now that we have had all day long within this grand finals. Game 1 went 3-7, game 2 went 2-7. Now we haven't even seen a finish, and we know that Valid Unit is able to pick up even more rounds. So this game, I'm not like to see it go the distance, but it does seem as if we won't even have any clues until we get down into it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's scary how good Valid Unit are creeping up to the score of Kosma Gaming. Yes, it might be true that they've been living in the shadow of Kosma for the entirety of this match when it comes down to the round count. They've been constantly trying to catch up. but the race hasn't yet been ran, right? The finish line for Kosma is getting closer, and it's only a step away, but Valid Unit are starting to pick up their speed, and currently going in with such an attacking lineup, it's quite scary to think what they're going to be able to do. And keep in mind, Cosmic Gaming were up 2 players earlier, especially with Sleek's play, which won't be able to be executed once more, right? Now Valid Unit are going to expect it, and Sleek can find an easy double, but Cosmic Gaming just played it with way too much cockiness in the mindset, and it cost them very dearly. Maybe it might even cost them the map, but for now, Valid Units still have a couple more steps before we get to that point.
Valid unit looking good as they are going to be able to drop some information into the action. Cosmic Gaming will not be able to really figure that out just yet. It will just give Valid Unit a little bit of a idea of where they can take space up towards this building. And now as the bank is going to be executed upon, this invasion could lead to a lot of detriments for Kosma as they fall down. Sleek, the real playmaker, dropping 10 kills, now going to be falling down.
The Monty here, an overwhelming presence. Fully extended again, you can't really do much to him unless you have a CO4 and a Dream. Cosmic Gaming losing their Zami again. Sleek has been doing great, by the way. There's 3 players on the Cosmic Gaming side who have over double digits, or at least just about reaching that count. And while Sleek is one of them, losing such an asset might not be great, but same could be said for Valid Unit Ace, as Drip will be the one to fall next. A good eye for an eye, but again, look at the counter. Valid Unit are barely left with a minute.
And Kleist as well, really picking it up where Sleek left off. Obviously, finding a double kill last round, it really seemed as if Sleek would be a massive playmaker for this team. But despite having them off the board, Kosma Gaming will still be able to fall in line. And Valid Unit now, how will they end up opting into this, right? We see a couple players on different floors playing the verticality, but the shots go in. Peeking Bob falls down as Yellow's able to drop him. To look at this next engagement, going to be coming in, finding the information, not able to take the kill. Defoint able to get a little bit of damage taken, but unfortunately not enough to convert the kill. Kosma Gaming still going to be fishing for damage, as it does seem as if these 2 players bolted up together could possibly make something happen. Mushroom dropping in, Reze down, as it's the 2v4 now. Invalid Unit peeking the corner, falls down into place, and that could have just been Clusty putting the nail in the coffin. Bebe, please. Final player, keeping them out, keeping them alive within the grand finals, giving their chances even one last try, but it will not matter. It's all done and dusted. Your champions of the Fire Season 1 looking phenomenal, and that will do it. It is all done and dusted. Oh my gosh, Puffo Bob. The Valid Unit will fall down, and it's Kosma to take the championship.
What a performance. Cosmo Gaming, I mean, honestly, really well played. They were strong at the start. I mean, terrifyingly strong. I mean, we had a 5-1 split. That is crazy stuff. But in the end, they did start losing that momentum going into the half point of the match. Overall, they did end up having the result, which was a victory in the grand finals. They will be taking home the 200 euros and, of course, the title of the Season 1 Fire Series seasonal champion. I mean, honestly, this was great stuff from them. And at the very beginning, maybe I said, yes, they're not T1 players, which I still believe. I think that's obvious, but they are great. The performance we saw today from them, again, especially this being a lower end, a T3, T4 league, this was great. This was a really nice performance. We saw adaptations from both sides. We saw both teams be upset at certain moments, or upsets happen, such as, again, Chalet Nighthaven being night and day over towards this bank. That was a bit more of a tussle between the two and showed the rivalry of a grand final that it should be. In the end stage, we have ourselves a winner, and honestly, Cosmic Gaming, well deserved.
It was phenomenal played from both teams, being able to bring it to the distance. Game number 3 was brought, so it really does show neither of these teams could be considered a slouch. Each of them powerful in their own right. Unfortunately, Kosma just more powerful on the day, and it just goes to show, right? Either could have taken the championship, but at least you get the consolation prize. $100 goes to second, £200 goes to first, and Buffalo Bob, I
Yes.
I think that might have been one of the better games I've seen in a hot minute. I don't know about you, but I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I think that both these two teams, especially all 10 players, right, phenomenal work came out from each and every individual on this game. Who do you think would give an MVP award to though?
Bob. I love Bob.
Yeah,
I mean, Bob was just, again, Cosmic Gaming, they had fantastic players. There were consistency between people like Sleek, Youst, and Mushroom, right? There were really good and solid players, but in the end, Bob just made some of those highlights. I mean, we saw it on all 3 maps. I think Bob was great. His flanks were good. His confidence was overwhelming, and maybe at times a bit too much. He still put up an effort. He still put up a show, and that's what I want.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that one. I think that you definitely can give it to Bob. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be going right now. So thank you all so much for staying tuned. Thank you to our phenomenal producer RXY, Rixie. I don't know how you'd pronounce that. And thank you to our phenomenal observer as well, Quitter. Thank you to Puffo Bob for being the greatest commentator ever,
All right,
ever.
brother.
And that will
Okay.
do it. Thank you all for staying tuned. Thank you for coming to the grand finals of the Fire Series Season 1. See you next time for possibly Season 2 or something else. But peace out. Bye bye.